It's the World Series of Sim Racing here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting.
No contact.
And some contact. Holds on for now. It's Vincent Sora. Colley's going to be able to hold on. 3 wide, 2 wide. Ryan Bird trying to be the hero. He'll door smack once again in the center of the corner. Figure out how to get out of the way. Vinny breaks him. He breaks him across the line. The 15 wins. One last chance. One last opportunity. He's digging. He's climbing. He's right on the bumper. Blocking going to be made. Will there be contact? Here comes Thompson. Check on the outside. We're going to be blocked. Defended. Brian Johnson hoping and will win. Here comes Vincent Sword to the inside, but it's not enough. Brian Johnson wins, and it's going to be the 13th trying his best. He'll hold on, or will he cross the line? It's Cedric Hunter by a nose. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Wednesday night. Tonight, we get ourselves prepared for the WSSR Cup Series, your Season 9 finale. All these drivers have set the deck, their chips are laid, and it's time to see who will be the winner of our Freaky Fast Championship finale here at Las Vegas. The drivers know it is simple. Make sure you're the driver with the most points at the end of the night, and they're all chasing one driver. That's Zach Hall, who's got a 3-point advantage over Gavin Rogers, 7 points over Vincent Sora. Cedric Hunter is 11 points out. Larry Yingling, 12, and the biggest bowl back of a driver that's already won a championship. It's Brian P. Johnson, 23 points behind Zach Hall as they come to a track that's got history of drama, history of great finishes, and we're happy to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up the booth for this evening, and he's been here for most of the season. We've got Justin Malarkey with me, and Justin, what a season we've had. 17 races have completed for this moment to crown a brand new champion.
And what a track to crown it at, Las Vegas. What a fun track this will be. This will really be the driver's track tonight. Multiple grooves, Sam. It's going to be exciting seeing who can maneuver and get around there and seeing how the strategy plays out. I think Las Vegas always puts on a great race in any league, but especially this league with the amount of classy drivers in here that just have speed each week.
And I know a lot of drivers have been practicing, trying to make sure that they're the fastest for this race, but the way that Las Vegas has been looking, there's going to be a little bit of pack racing. It could come down to tire wear. Also, fuel mileage has been a big talking point for the playoffs, but it all starts now with qualifying. Practice just concludes, and there are already bonus points to be grabbed here in qualifying. If you get the pole sitter award, that is 1 bonus point to give you grab it for yourself. Other bonus points that you can find yourself with is 1 bonus point for leading the lap, 1 bonus point for leading the most laps, and winning the race as well is 1 bonus point. So there's a total of 4 bonus points on top of track position on the ways that you can gain or lose points this evening. But gotta say, Justin, this is going to be such an important race for some of these drivers. I know for Zach Hall, he already knows there's a lot of pressure on himself to have a good run, but everyone also knows Gavin Rogers, who's second, has been the king of qualifying. He would love to get another pole to get that 1 extra bonus point.
Getting the pole, getting the bonus points, you can never go wrong with that. We talk about it each week because it's important. There's a reason why we talk about it. The points matter. You'll see tonight when we go through, see who missed out winning the championship by 1.2, 3, 4. They're going to look back on their season and say, oh, a couple points here, a couple points there, put me in a better spot. Maybe last week if I did this, did that. But it won't matter, Sam. You got to have the points tonight because this is what's going to count.
It is what's gonna count. Last week, Zach Hall found himself in a victory lane at North Wilkesboro, as well as grabbing the pole. So he got a lot of points last week that really enhanced him to be in front of the pack entering tonight. But again, all drivers know it's about who can grab the pole here to start off the evening. As currently it's Aaron Smith II, top of the board with a 30.810 for his fastest lap currently. The fastest lap during practice was a 30.2. They had a lot of draft help that enabled them to find that extra speed. As Joshua Kanata that we see on screen, he's going to come across the line third with a 30.959 second lap time for himself. Some of the drivers that are in the playoffs or in the championship hunt are out for their first lap. We'll get a sense of where they're going to be placing themselves because I'm looking at some of the drivers such as Cedric Hunter, Brian P. Johnson. They're about to get their first laps in, and they're going to be the tone setters of who's really the drivers of our Championship 6 to watch out for this evening.
Championship 6 we'll be talking about all night, but right now we're going to be talking about Cedric Hunter getting his lap in. Right here, Joshua Kanata jumps to the top, 30.482. See what happens here with Cedric Hunter. Is he going to move up anything? Looks like he's going to clock in at a 31.230. Not going to get the job done for the pole, unfortunately, for the 13.
Not going to go for the pole, but the 13 machine does have one more lap to try to top the board as well. Cedric Hunter, one of the more dominant drivers. If you look at the history here at Las Vegas, a two-time winner here, a three-time most laps led driver. Cedric Hunter has a lot of success here at Las Vegas and would love to see it continue on for himself, as Brian P. Johnson up to third on the board for himself, and Cedric Hunter 16th on the board, but it looked like he grazed the wall in that second lap, invalidating that lap time. Cedric Hunter could be starting at the end of the line if everyone qualifies.
If everyone qualifies, wow. I mean, Sam, you're talking. That could be actually insane just to think that. I mean, I would imagine all these drivers are going to go out and attempt a lap. Maybe one or two won't. Right now, we're on board with the 75, but Christis jumps to the top of the board. He's out at a 30.470. He's really been putting down some really nice qualifying laps, Christis has been lately.
He certainly has. Shane Tarian going to be out on top of the board for the 9 machine. He's open to be a little bit of a spoiler. Ryan Kelly, who also missed out on the championship round, he'll be second on the board. And we got a lot of spoilers here this evening. Shockingly, first lap for Gavin Rogers, going to be 14th fastest, waiting to get a little bit more of a pickup. Zach Hall also going to be needing a little bit of pickup as he's 13th on the board. But Zach Hall enters tonight. The major veteran of this series has been here since the start of the WSSR. He's got the most starts of any driver. He's been climbing the ranks in the most wins column in a career, and he's hoping to have a charge for a championship as Gavin Rogers takes the pole. Zach Hall tries to best it. He won't. He's going to come away 4/10 off of Gavin Rogers, who's going for another pole here this season. And that was the worry for Zach Hall. He knew Rogers was going to have some incredible pace. He's now going to be banking on some of his teammates to best the time, but Crawford spins. Rogers looks to take the crown of the pole here tonight.
Yeah, with 20 seconds to go, looks like Gavin Rogers is going to do it. He's going to start on the front row, control the restart, and we know how important it is to control these races regardless of what track you're at. So putting the 75 up front just gives him a chance to get out there, lead those laps, get even more bonus points.
Then that is one bonus point already starting out here tonight. So Gavin Rogers entered the evening 3 points behind Zach Hall, will now make it just 2 points behind with this pole. That is going to be his 8th of the season. Out of 18 races, you grab 8 of the poles. That is wicked to be seen on the stats sheet, which that's what Gavin Rogers, the one rookie that made it to the championship round, is hoping to find himself to do this season, is to win the championship. He's already completed step 1. There's plenty of more steps to continue on this evening. As the drivers now enter into their warm-ups, they're going to have 5 minutes for a little bit of extra practice if needed, and as well gives us time to do a breakdown of how this season has came to, as this board is set and it's time for us to take a look at how this season has been. And let's first take a look at our point standings and where they were entering tonight before qualifying. Like I said, Zach Hall had a 3-point advantage over Gavin Rogers. It's now turned into 2 after qualifying. And you have Vince Sora, 2-time champion of the series, going to be in 3rd in points, 7 points behind Hall. Then you've got Cedric Hunter. He's also a veteran of the series, looking for his first championship, in 4th. Then we move down to 5th, where Larry Yingling, the 3-time champ, just 12 points behind Zach Hall, so still in reach. He's going to be in 5th in points. And Brian P. Johnson, the biggest hole of them all, 23 points behind Zach Hall. It's a big margin, and honestly, his way of having a chance to win the championship or not all starts at the stage at the end of lap 40.
Yeah, at the end of lap 40 will be really determining how his night's going to go. He's going to have to do everything. Sam, if we get an early caution, he's definitely going to have to go in and use a set of tires. He might not want to use them for later on in the race, but if he can use them and come out and get that stage win, it could be something that really could change everything for him.
It certainly can. Now let's take a look at how the season's looked overall. You saw what the point standings was like. Here's how the breakdown's been for each and every race so far this season. It started off with Cedric Hunter winning all the way back at Atlanta. Then we saw Vincent Sora go on a streak. Gavin Rogers took his 2 early on. Then this major surprise at Daytona Oval with Mike Tellier shocking the league with his win. Then Zach Hall finally got into his groove that really put him in a position to be a favorite for this championship at the doubleheader of the Daytona Road Course at the middle of the regular season. And since then, I would say it's been a wide variety of different winners, Justin. I mean, we've seen drivers that were once favorites for the championship. John Forbes got a win for himself. We saw Ryan Kelly get 3 wins this season. Drew Jua looked quick at times, but ultimately, the last 3 winners, it's been Cedric Hunter, Vincent Sora, and Zach Hall to set up for tonight.
Yeah, it seems like in the last few weeks, the drivers that are going to battle for this championship have really risen to the top. But don't take anything away from the whole season. Like you said, we've had so many different winners, and I mean, each week we really have not seen anyone really walk away and dominate races. Maybe Richmond, pretty much we saw that race get a little dominated there, but I don't think anywhere else we've seen that. I think Las Vegas tonight, we might see the same guys up front, but you're going to see people get up there and decide to run that high line, middle line, make some passes, and maybe abuse those tires a little bit, but then are they going to pay that on the long run and fade back? That's what's going to make tonight really interesting.
And also, as we get prepared for the start of this race, it's going to be the last one of the season. We want to shout out and say thank you to the major sponsor that's been helping out here in the WSSR for the last few seasons. That's Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack has been the trophy and ring provider since season 4 for the WSSR, and it has been a pleasure to have them as one of the major sponsors for the WSSR Cup Series. If you're looking to find yourself a trophy for iRacing, or currently I know a lot of fantasy football is going on, they've got you covered in plenty of wide variety of trophies, rings, belts, and more. Go to trophysmack.com, and after scrolling through their pre-made and custom orders that you can make for yourself, remember to use promo code WSSR Smack for 10% off on your order. Thank you so much to Trophy Smack, who will be giving a trophy out this season to whoever is able to hoist it here for season 9. And just, I mean, I know for a lot of leagues, some give out plaques, some just say congratulations, but to have an actual trophy handed to you, these drivers all know that that's what they would love to do. I mean, just being known as the champion, such an honor.
Oh, to get an actual trophy is just something that separates it, makes it a little bit more appreciative from the league aspect of it. Like you said, some leagues don't really go all that out with the champions, but this one definitely getting the actual trophy, massive. You having a sponsor like that, massive. Makes the league so popular, and you see that's why we have 30 to 40 drivers pretty much every week trying to get into this league.
Yeah, and here tonight, I was looking at the roster that we're going to be having this evening. There are a lot of returning drivers. I was kind of shocked to see. It's a lot of Gavin Rogers' team from Next Level Motorsports that's come together to try to help out the 75, I think, in getting positions. With having more drivers out on track, that means there's more points to be grabbed, and it also means there's more points to be lost. So this helps out Brian P. Johnson on the fact of if he can minimize the loss on points, everyone that's made it to the championship round still mathematically would have a chance to win the championship. But it all starts now. Practice is over. Qualifying is finished. We just got finished up with the warm-up, and here's your starting grid for tonight's Freaky Fast finale at Las Vegas. Gavin Rogers, his 8th pole of the season, already a bonus point for the 75. He'll be on top of the board. Zach Hall wanted the pole, but wasn't able to hoist it. He'll finish in 2nd with qualifying. Then Vincent Sora, our 2-time champion, can be in 3rd. Shane Tarian, Ryan Kelly, 4th and 5th. Trying to play a little bit of spoiler. Larry Yingling, who is also trying to become the first driver to get 3. Well, he already did that in season 6. He wants to get his 4th WSSR championship, and he'll start in 6th position. Douglas Newbiggie, Chris Stitt, 7th and 8th, and our last 2 in the top 10. It's going to be Joshua Kanata, and returning driver of Richard Wilsifer in the 56.
And going in 11th, there he is, Brian P. Johnson, going to be rolling off to the 11th spot. Tom Senchuk alongside in 12th, Brian Noel in 13th, and Ken Campbell in 14th position. Andrew Medlin going to be rolling off in 15th alongside GT Arizari in 16th, Ben Keeney in the 17th position. Christopher Wade alongside him in 18th. Rolling off in the 19th spot, going to be Jared Hughes and Justin Forbes. Nice qualifying effort in the 20th position.
Then your final few drivers is going to be in 21st position. Back out on track is Aaron Smith, the 2nd. Christopher Norris is going to start all the way down in 22nd position for the 38. Danny Cochran all the way down in 23rd position. Nick Crawford, 24th. Ollie Fonseca in 25th position. And shockingly, made the mistake during qualifying. He's got a lot of work if he still wants to be in the hunt for a championship. Cedric Hunter will be your last driver out on track. Hello Kitty starts 26th. Again, talking about Cedric Hunter, he's found success here in the past. Other drivers that have shown success is Vincent Sora. Almost went back-to-back back in season 4 and 5, winning here at this track. And we've talked about this a lot throughout the season here, just on the fact of the last time that they ran the next-gen car was back in season 6 and 5. And whenever we've seen drivers have past success with those vehicles in those past seasons, they've translated pretty well to the current season that we're in right now, even though it's been 2 years since they ran these car and track combos. So I would say Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter, they might be the favorites to really watch out here tonight with their past success that they had here back in season 5.
Well, it'll be fun to watch Cedric Hunter come from the back. There's so many times each week he's putting on a show in this season, passing cars, coming. You know, it seems like he's a driver that really has long run speed. I think he takes care of his equipment. So I think on a track like this where tire wear will definitely matter and you can definitely pass, watching him will be exciting.
It's going to be extremely exciting, and thank you again to everyone that's been watching this journey in season 9, all the way back in Atlanta when we first started this season to now. It's been a pleasure to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. 6 drivers entered into the championship round last week at North Wilkesboro. Here tonight, we get to crown your season 9 champion. Will it be a rookie? Will it be a veteran? Or will we find more drivers hoisting some more glory with multiple wins? We'll find out here on your Freaky Fast finale at Las Vegas. Pace car into pit road. Gavin Rogers, Zach Hall, they're 1-2 in points, and they're 1-2 to start out here tonight as we're green roaring down into turn number 1.
Down in turn 1, it'd be important to see who can lead this lap. Gavin Rogers going to use a little bit of the apron there, trying to get a good run going into turn 1. Going to get a good run going through, but is he going to clear coming out of turn 2? Zach Hall's going to really go hard on the outside. He's going to try and prevent Gavin Rogers from leading that lap. Rogers going to go down low, try and break the draft. Hall going to send it in here, side by side, through 3 and 4.
And there's been times in the past where you grab the pole and you never lead a single lap here at Las Vegas, and Zach Hall wants to make sure that's true. Lap 1, didn't grab the pole, but he'll lead the first lap. Hall's gonna equal out his number, gets that 1 bonus point just here on lap number 1. The rest of the field knows, okay, 1 lap down, still 159 laps to go. As right on the back bumper, Gavin Rogers trying to do everything in his power to lead a lap and just get that 1 bonus point. Get the distance back to just 2 points between Hall and Rogers, but a driver in 3rd, he's in the green and black. It's Shane Tarian who wants to put the pressure on our championship drivers as the 9 right in the mix of 4 of our 6 championship drivers.
Yeah, it looks like Rogers is going to get that lap led. and he's looking to lead more now as he might clear Zach Hall coming on the outside, and now he's got to deal with the 9. Also, Zach Hall's going to drop from first back to third. Maybe, maybe not. They're going to stay side by side through this corner, though. But now Larry Yingling, as he jumping to the outside, the 32 now falling back. Maybe he wanted to get up there, lead that lap, and decide, you know what, let me go back, keep these tires nice and cool still, because we might have a little bit of longer run here.
As it was the lap previous to that, Hall was 0.03 of a second ahead of Gavin Rogers. Rogers, that previous lap, fully committed to leading, and he will then get that 1 bonus point. So the gap's back down to 2, but Hall is disappearing into 4th position. There's the crowd that's behind the 32 machine. You got Vincent Sora as well as Ryan Kelly willing to give up time and position to just save these tires for later on into this run. But with the way Las Vegas has been going, the way that iRacing's been, I don't know if you want to be this close to drivers on this track with the way we've seen Netcode be very aggressive with the field. But speaking about aggression, up front almost was 3 wide for the lead as Larry Yingling wants to get up front, and he will put the pressure. They're going to go 3 wide into 3. Larry Yingling wants to get that bonus lap led. Hall's already done it. Rogers has already done it. Why not give it to the 3-time champ to be the 3rd championship driver to lead a lap here tonight, just on lap number 6?
And that was a move he made. He was able to hook the bottom and stay down there, and the 9 tried hard to side draft him, but you saw the 9 get a little twitchy there in the middle of the corners at 3 and 4, and he had to lift and get out of the throttle and kind of lost his momentum. But now he's going to fight back in 1 and 2 down the straightaway. It looks like he's going to have maybe the preferred line getting into the corner. He's got a little bit of drafting help. The 67 super low. He's going to pinch that car down. Probably going to hurt the exit speed. Is the 67 going to have to lift here? I think he is, and the 9's going to clear him.
As the drivers are going through this race, looking at some of the field at this moment, big shocker right now. You can see him in 14th currently. Cedric Hunter has moved up 12 positions from where he started all the way back in last place. He is already past almost half the field to get up to this position. And Justin, with the stage break being only at the end of lap 40, there's not a lot of time. You've got to make these moves very quickly unless you're going to extremely save tires and make these passes late.
Yeah, that's the big question, is how much did he heat up those tires, pushing them, but he made up the time, no risk in staying in the back, trying to get to the front. So if there is an accident, hopefully he's hoping that it's behind him. That's the big scare about starting in the back, but he's made up a ton of ground, and it might be showing that he's going to have a ton of speed. We expect him to be fast. Another driver who moved up from 11th up to 8th, that's Brian P. Johnson. So all our playoff drivers, they're starting to move to the front, as now Cedric Hunter's going to try and get around Ryan Kelly.
As we've seen drivers talk about backing off and giving more space. Again, Hall has fallen out of 6th position. Vince Sora down to 7th. They have given up even more spots as this run has progressed forward. They're really thinking about the long game of gaining these positions back once tire wear becomes a bigger factor. But there's drivers ahead of them that I don't know if they're going to be playing as nice to give up these spots. We'll see as this race moves forward. Shocking drivers that have had some good runs that are being aggressive early on. Richard Wolsifer inside our top 10 is the biggest mover, up 6 positions. Is the 56 in 4th place. Again, showing up for this last race, hasn't been here for most of the playoffs, and seeing Richard Wolsifer, also Jared Hughes back in 25th, just trying to get a little bit more drivers out on track for Gavin Rogers. If there's a mistake by the 32, those are positions and points that some of these other playoff contenders are hoping to grab. 10 laps in the books, and it's Shane Terrian up front. Larry Yingling lingers in 2nd, Gavin Rogers 3rd, and they're continuing to just ride in position as Terrian tries to pull away and has almost a half a second gap lead over 2nd place runner. Richard Wolsifer starting to close in. Also Joshua Kanata, who was a driver who just missed out on making it to this championship round. He runs in 4th and 5th position in a decent run at this current moment. Up front, plenty of space all around. A little bit of action, though, in the middle of the field as the driver has trouble. I believe it was Christopher Norris who gets out of trouble for a quick moment as the battle for 2nd rages on.
And the battle for 2nd might not be a battle too long, because the 75 got a good run coming out of that corner. Larry Yingling drove up to the front in those first few laps, and now he's starting to fall back and sliding into 3rd, but he did get up there, at least get a lap led. He has to feel good about getting that up there with, and when he was fighting with the 9, but the 9 now is checking out about a half a second lead, 0.6 of a second lead, and we've seen speed all year out of Shane, so I would not expect to see anything less than him maybe put on a really good race tonight.
Yeah, Shane Terrian knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. Probably would have been one of the biggest threats this season to try to go for a championship. He actually finished second in points last season with 5 laps to go. The championship was in hand, but last couple of laps found Benjamin Nelson grabbing just the few positions he needed to win the championship. And if you're Shane Terrian, this is more of redemption of saying, I'm going to win this race. I don't care if you're a championship driver or not. There's a lot of other drivers that are looking for maybe just to find momentum before the season's end and return next season with a great run. One of those being Ken Campbell in that Campbell Soup Machine in the 15, watching Vincent Sora and Brian Noel go back and forth. Sora losing even more spots. He's now lost 6 positions since the drop of the green. We're into that zone where we're expecting that transition of if you protected your tires, you're going to go forward, and if you didn't, watch out. But for Vincent Sora, I mean, he's given up as well as Zach Hall so much time and ground. I'm worried for them, Justin, especially because a caution is looming because the everyone from 15th on back are just on top of one another.
Yeah, the fear, I agree with you, Sam. The fear I always have is sometimes you save those tires and you can't get the time back because it just seems like in these next-gen cars, it's hard to pass. Sometimes, even when the tires do wear out, if you just save them simply because drivers downshift, they get that little bit of speed, and then before you know it, they keep you side by side for a lap or two, and then you're kind of just hurting your tires getting back around them. So sometimes it's hard. It's a fine line. But we're talking about all these drivers coming up here that maybe didn't have runs that are moving up in the field. How about up there in 4th spot, Richard Wolfeser? We haven't had a chance to talk too much about him.
Further on back, Christopher Norris is in the grass, and he will keep us green for now, but he is trying to get this car moving currently as he's heading to pit road. They were 4 wide, battling for 17th position, and Christopher Norris getting loose on the outside. Luckily, no yellow is thrown, but drivers further on back really putting every aggression moving. Here's the replay. 4 wide, contact and pinball for Danny Cochran and Douglas Newbigging, but it was Norris just losing all grip, and he'll go down into the grass across the line, and that's going to be a black flag for the 38. He has to go to pit road and serve that time, and for Norris, this is not the way he wanted this final race of the season to go. Luckily, he does have the stage break for a yellow flag, but trouble striking for himself. Here's also another replay of Joshua Kanata and Richard Wolfeser as they were battling back and forth. They were for 4th and 5th, and they get out of sorts as Richard Wolfeser goes in the grass. That as well does not bring out a yellow flag, but that was right in front of Brian P. Johnson, and Johnson's got to be feeling lucky on the fact that his race is still rolling. But that battle for 5th, well, it's right back on. It's Brian P. Johnson and Zach Hall. Hall is on the charge to get these positions back.
Yeah, that's actual amazing work right there that you did, Sam. Tons of feedback on all those replays that we had on that action. Can't believe we got the broadcaster curse on Richard Wolfeser. And right there, it looks like Brian Noel. He's got the curse too. He's going to slide through the infield, but able to save it.
And tires are falling away as we just press over to the halfway of this stage. Again, stage break at the end of lap 40. Top 10 drivers get bonus points. And if you're part of the championship 6, Zach Hall, Gavin Rogers, Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter, Larry Yingling, and Brian P. Johnson, you need to be inside of the top 10. If you're not in the top 10, you don't get stage bonus points. Your championship hopes could already be snuffed out just in the first 40 laps of this long 160, as up front it is already a pass. Shane Terrian having a little bit of a slip up. He's going to fall down to 3rd position. Larry Yingling takes the top spot back, and Gavin Rogers trying to build the momentum. The 75 with a huge run. He'll duck it down low to the inside quarter panel, trying to take back this lead position, and Rogers has the nose for now, but Yingling's going to have the run off the exit of the corner if he can stay off the wall. But we've seen these tires fall away, and they keep it together. Side-by-side drag race across the line. It's Yingling for that lap. But Justin, I mean, we're 20 laps in. We've already seen about 4 drivers go through the grass in the last 4 laps.
Yeah, and we're seeing the drivers come and go. See that people that did save tires are able to make that ground up. And I mean, you got to give a huge shout out to drivers that are coming forward that saved those tires. That we were worried, would they be able to make the passes back? Larry Yingling, he came hard in the front to get that lap led, and then all of a sudden drop back to 3rd. But now look at this, back into the front and playing defense, trying to keep the 75 behind. But while these 3 drivers up here battle and put on a great show, 4th and 5th and 6th, they're coming fast.
They are trying to close in the gap. And that last time around, Zach Hull, Vincent Sora, and Ryan B. Johnson, the fastest trio out on course by 2/10 over the rest of the field. Everyone else running about a 31.7-second lap time, while Hall, Johnson, and Sora ran a 31.5. They are trying to close in, and it helps on the fact that your top three are battling so hard. At moments, looks like they're trying to use the bump draft to carry the momentum, but Shane Tarian with a hard side drafting up front, he is holding back this group and pulling in some of his past teammates. Shane Tarian, former teammate with Brian P. Johnson and Zach Hall last 2 seasons under the name of Carolina Reapers. Well, Shane Tarian helping former allies here tonight with bringing back Yingling and Rogers to Hall, because Zach Hall, Brian P. Johnson, Vincent Sora, they're here as Tarian stays high.
You see how loose he got coming out of that corner. He almost turned down into the 75 there for a moment, I thought. Luckily, Shane was really talented, able to keep it off of the driver underneath him of the 75, plus keep it off the outside wall. But look at that, drops back to 5th. The driver who was just about looking like he was going to take the lead. These cars are getting loose out of the corners, and it's making it fun, because I feel like these next-gen cars, sometimes they just get so tight that the racing kind of gets a little dull. And then these cars right now, they're so loose, they're free, they're driving coming out of the corner, and whoever has that grip right now in the rear seems to be able to plant it coming out of turn 4 and get that momentum. And right now, that's that 32 machine.
That is Zach Hull currently. Took the chance. He qualified second. Didn't get that pull award he was hoping for, but it's okay. He's still showing some great pace, even with falling back all the way down to 7th position. Hall at one moment was 2.5 seconds off the leader. Now 2/10 behind Gavin Rogers, and about to have the run to catch up to that back bumper. Gavin Rogers knows he's got 15 laps to figure out how to hold back this 32 and have an advantage over Hall. Gavin Rogers already is just 2 points behind, even with all the bonus points that have been given out. Another point, maybe even 2 points, make it equal, make it just on the fact of finish ahead of Hall. This stage could really set a tone for Rogers here, as Hall is right there throwing it down low once again, but there's just not enough of a run. Zach Hall might have used up everything, or is it a settle and wait for these tires to cool off?
Oh, lap 26, I mean, we still have 15 to go, so what do they have for these final 15 laps? And you know, it's early to talk about it, but just who's going to get that lap-led extra bonus point for leading the most laps? These drivers are all cycling. They all got that 1 bonus point. So far, they've been racing hard to get that 1 point, but who's going to be that driver that gets that extra bonus point for leading the most? And that's something that is kind of a battle within a battle. Yeah, you don't want to cook your tires up too much, but if you can get that extra bonus point, that can go a big way later on. As the 16 is going to get really loose.
Cedric Hunter almost gets clipped by Joshua Kanata, who snaps loose in front of a pack. And Cedric Hunter, oh, deep breath of calmness after almost a heart attack moment. The 13 has worked so hard from 26 now up to 7, and it all almost went up in smoke in the exit of turn 4. Woo, Justin, that's not a feeling you ever want to feel again if you're Hunter.
Oh, it was so close to that rear bumper getting hooked, and that would have been night over. But this 13 machine, I am excited to see what he can do is once the stage caution comes out, because he is really, really fast. Let's remind everyone where he started. He started in the back, had a really bad qualifying issue, started in the back, but has driven up to 7th place, which is impressive. But Sam, even more impressive, only 2.3 seconds back. He's had to pass drivers, use his tires up, abuse the car, and he's still under 2.5 seconds behind these behind these leaders battling for the lead up front.
He was only 1/100th off of Gavin Rogers, our leader right now, on pace. That 13 is just as fast as our leaders. He will be a threat once the stage yellow comes out. And like we just saw, it's a survival game as our top 6 all on top of one another. Within a second is Gavin Rogers all the way down to Vincent Sora. And they know every point's so crucial for Gavin Rogers, Zach Hall. I mean, this is going to be the difference between a 1-point gap difference moving on after this stage is over, or for Zach Hall to get back his 3-point advantage that he had entering this race. There is a lot riding on this, because the difference between being 2 cars ahead and 4 cars ahead of somebody is massive here with a field of 26 drivers, as Hall's going to go for another attempt to the lead position. Everyone else settles and waits as Vincent Sora and Shane Terrian, they solidify on where they're running at this moment. But a lot of hard battling is for the lead spot, and Hall is still unable to make the pass for the lead with now 9 laps to go on the stage.
Yeah, still not able to get to him, and it looks like he just lost a little bit there coming down that front straightaway. But these drivers are going to be battling hard, as you said. Now with 8 to go, it's going to be so impressive to see who can get to the front and establish themselves. I mean, getting the stage win is going to be massive, and you have to wonder, the driver sitting in 4th position, he's 7/10 back. Can he give it his all in those final 8 laps, and can he get to the bumpers, and can he make a move around these guys and get those points that he's going to need to have a chance? And Ryan Kelly's going to have a big battle here coming out of the corner. As you see, looks like Danny Cochran back there in the 2 got a little loose coming out of the corner. It seems like turn 4 is where these drivers are definitely getting loose.
Getting a little bit loose, and I'm looking at some of the drivers that are still closing in. This pack has been on top of one another. They've really not given any space, and I got to give kudos on the fact that we haven't seen a wreck from this group. I know we saw Joshua Kanata snap loose, and Cedric Hunter was able to just blitz his way through this pack, but it has been on top of one another's nose-to-nose racing as Ryan Kelly to the top, Ken Campbell in the middle, and Tom Sinchek, a driver who's also had past success here, runs on the inside through. But driver I'm still impressed by, Cedric Hunter. Maybe 7th was the far enough position he was going to grab. No, make it 6th. Hunter making the pass to get up front to 6th position as he gets by the 9 of Shane Terrian, or at least attempting to get by. As Ryan Kelly, Tom Sinchek, they were dealing with that lap car that was Justin Forbes, who continues to stay high and letting the field drive on by. But again, this is so impressive by Hunter. He went from last, absolute dead last at the start of this race, to this now 6th place position. 20 places have been grabbed in 35 laps.
Yeah, Hunter has to be thinking if he could have just had a top 10 qualifying, just something even in the middle of the pack, just to give him a little bit closer to the front of this field to start the race. Could he be up there battling for this stage win? I mean, right now he's up to 6th, so super impressive regardless. 2.3 seconds back is what he's been. But the thing is, he passed another car and is still at 2.3 seconds. Actually, knock it down to 2.2 now. So he's gaining time, even getting through the field. He's going to run out of laps here before the stage. But Sam, he's going to be so impressive to watch. I mean, you would have to think the track's going to rubber up and change a little bit. So, I mean, but all these drivers are going to be going through that. So he should be in good shape.
The only thing that makes this run, I mean, it's so impressive. That's why we keep harping on it. But it is also a heartbreak of it wasn't for nothing, because all the drivers that he needs to get in front of or ahead of him, Cedric Hunter is going to be exiting out if this stage ends where they run currently. He's losing time to Hall, to Rogers, to Johnson, Yingling, and Vincent Sora. At this point, it's going to turn this race for Cedric Hunter into he needs all 5 of the other 6 championship drivers to get caught up in a wreck, and then he would have a chance for this championship. As the battling going on, this is for 4th position as well for the lead. They're side by side, almost looking it's very similar on the ways that they were exiting out of the corner. Outside driver keeps the position. That's Gavin Rogers up front for the lead, and it's Larry Yingling for this 4th place position, as I'm going to be seeing the likes of Vincent Sora them battling back and forth. This could give a chance for Hunter to close in this gap, get back in the fight. Maybe a couple of more positions could be grabbed. We move back up to this lead position. 3 laps to go, making now more 2.5. And Hall is still in the same spot he's been in for the last 10 laps. He can't find an opening to get by Gavin Rogers. He's doing a fabulous job defending his 75.
Yeah, but right now he might have a chance. He's got the right front tire to the left rear quarter panel. They're going to get close going into the corner, and the 32 is going to send it down to the bottom of the 75, try and get down there and side draft. The 32, he's backing up here now, exiting the corner. Is he going to slide up into him? He's going to be able to pinch it down. But this 75 with the rocket machine down the back straightaway has that big run off of turns 1 and 2. But now the 32 fights back, getting down to the bottom. They're going to be coming out of this corner again, side by side, trying to get here and coming to 1 to go.
Gavin Rogers entered into this race with 3 wins. Majority of those wins were at road courses where he just showed utter dominance. When he went to the oval tracks, Rogers' biggest weakness was long run in having the speed to hold off everybody. His tires would fall away, and at this moment, Rogers continues to show growth throughout this season. The rookie that entered in, who would be watched here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, dominate other series, look unstoppable at times. Here tonight, Rogers continues on his step-by-step move to try to be up front and to lead every position and point standing you can. Rogers at the line. He is your stage winner for the 75.
And at 32 put on a show. Zach Hall treating everyone to a nice battle right there. Gavin Rogers gets them to the line. Now these drivers are going to cool down, get into the pits. They got to have a good pit stop, though. They got to have a good restart. Don't want to give up that track position. But we have, look at our top 6. It's going to be great on this restart.
They are all finally up to the top, which it feels like this always happens in championship races. I mean, Justin, championship races, you always know those championship drivers are putting in more practice than anyone else. They know how much the last race is worth it. You know that if you're going to win the championship, you're most likely going to have to win this race, and Gavin Rogers is proving it. The gap that he entered in, 3 points. After the stage, he is just merely 1 point behind Zach Hall, where he runs right now. If he would to win, Gavin Rogers would take the championship.
It's going to be fun to watch. And as you said, the top 6 getting into the top 6. But of course, they're there for a reason. There's 6 of the best drivers out here, obviously. But I also think that some of the people out in the field are like, you know what, we really like these drivers. We respect them. It's a league that has a ton of respect. And some of those guys also are like, when you get to me, I'm going to let you go by because I don't want to be the reason that we end up getting in a wreck. They want to make sure you go out there and have a fair chance. So I think it's a combination of so much.
It certainly is. As the field enters into pit road, it is time to see how this field reacts as they get themselves into pit road, going to get service done. Everyone expected to get 4 tires in fuel. I think for us of the booth, though, we are going to take our first commercial break. For a commercial break, we will be back right after this with more racing action. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Freaky Fast finale at Las Vegas for your WSSR Season 9. We're back to green flag racing. A little bit of change up, though, as Vincent Sora was able to take the advantage under pit road stop. Zach Hall going to drop down to third, but it's your championship. 5 out of the 6 are up front. One driver, though, had to fall back. That's Cedric Hunter. Mistakes were made under pit road. And it's heartbreak to see, Justin, that Cedric is all the way down to 20th position for this start. He's got to climb his way all the way up once again.
And it's just so unfortunate, but he's going to put on a show, I think, again. He knows how fast the car is. He's going to go 3 wide right here on lap 1 on the restart, trying to make up ground, and he's going to do it, get by the 56 and the 07. He's going to try and get by the 12, so he's just going to pass cars. But it's just getting scary for him now because this race is getting shorter and shorter, and we don't have that guaranteed caution now. So Sam, if we don't have the guaranteed caution, how is he going to make up all this time? He's just going to keep passing these drivers. He's going to get contact here potentially. So close to the 2, he's stuck behind the 14 on the inside, and this is the problem. He's pushing hard, and now he's losing ground because he's stuck on that inside. He's got the 14 in front of him.
I mean, but inside lanes where you want to be if you want to protect your tires at the same motion, so it's not the worst place to be, but like I said, you're losing time overall. You're hoping drivers in front of you will just naturally move to the outside, but everyone else is battling for position. They don't have to get out of your way, even though you're one of the championship 6. You've got to make the passes on your own. For Cedric Hunter, I think I agree with what Colley's put in the chat. If Cedric is racing on hard mode here tonight, he has put the most difficult way to try to go for a win and compete. And again, for Cedric Hunter, he's in a boat where he needs all other 5 drivers to have major mistakes to give him a chance to run for this championship and take the gold at the end of this evening. But up front, one driver finally gets to the top spot. It's Brian P. Johnson. Lingers, finally gets up front, and it will finally lead a lap here tonight on lap 50. Johnson now going to be the 4th different championship driver to lead a lap here tonight. So that's another bonus point divvied out. Only 2 drivers yet to lead a lap, Vincent Sora and Cedric Hunter, so far this evening of our Championship 6.
Another driver of the Championship 6 that we talk about, Brian P. Johnson, starting back in 11th spot. Another driver who he was probably hoping if he could have just maybe started in the top 4, maybe he could have got out there and led some laps earlier in the run, preventing some of those other guys from leading laps. Plus, maybe he could have potentially got that stage win, which would have been important. But right now, these drivers are battling, and look at this, the 13, he is just... wow, I mean...
this is what I'm chuckling about. Where did he come from? Cedric Hunter from 20th to 6th in just 2 laps. The 13 found an opening. I think he finally went to the outside because he is flying right now, even quicker than the first 30 laps that he got to the front. Cedric Hunter is back with the Championship 6.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I was wondering what you were laughing about there in the background, and all of a sudden we get on the camera, and I'm like, wait, how is he hit by Larry Yingling? It was just 6 cars behind him in a matter of 30 seconds.
And Hunter is attack mode. Larry Yingling and Vincent Sora now are dropping him back. And Hello Kitty is now up with his teammate Zach Hall, and he is going on full go mode. And now for Cedric Hunter, again, he needs the other Championship 6 to have mistakes if he's going to go for a championship. So at this point, you drive as hard as you can, you put the pressure on everyone else you're racing a championship against, and you just hope that someone, if he gets in the wall, has a pit road mistake, but you have the track position now, and you just know, at least I'm away from the chaos. Where Vincent Sora, on the other hand, has backed off so much, he's now in the Hornet's nest. Back here with Ryan Kelly, Richard Wilsifer, and Ken Campbell.
Exactly. With these drivers, it looks like they're at a mini Daytona right there through the corner, side by side, multiple drivers. I have to wonder, Sam, is this it's the 13 of Cedric Hunter? Just throwing this out there. We know these drivers all have to make at least 1 pit stop. If they go the rest of this race, if this race stays green from the caution, they can go up to 66 laps, we're thinking. So if you divided it by 2 with how many laps is left, it was about 58 laps each stop. Maybe Cedric Hunter's thinking, I'm going to do 35-35. Maybe he's going to make 2 stops, trying to maximize the tires and take the extra stop. I don't know. I'm just thinking. I'm just saying maybe that's something he was doing. He's going to drive as hard as he can, gain as much time, and maybe that's something thinking right there. Just a strategy call I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, it is certainly a gutsy call, and it might be the most gutsiest call. Could get you in a position to maybe win this race, because 2 stops from here on out would be very risky just on the fact of how much time you're giving up. But speaking about time, I mean, our leader right now, Brian P. Johnson, he's still about 3/10 off of his fastest lap, but he's been one of those drivers being aggressive, building up a gap. Everyone else has been patiently saving their tires. They're trying to think of longevity, and I'm looking at 2nd, 3rd, 4th. I mean, based off their fastest lap to now, those grouping of drivers are about over a half a second slower. So, and we're 13 laps, 10, 35 laps into this run. I mean, the numbers might line up that doing a 2-stop could be faster if you're hitting your marks and putting down burner lap after burner lap, and it just sequences out for you to carry out more speed than those that are trying to stretch out their tires for a long duration of time.
Speaking of drivers that are maximizing speed, they might not be fighting for the championship, but that 24 of Ollie Fonseca and the 56 of Richard Wolfesser, he's back up front. I mean, we talked about him before, and he went flying through the infield, so I don't know if we want to risk jinxing him again. But he's putting on a show. He's driving back to the front. He's back up to 4th spot, which is where he was running earlier in this race.
Richard Wolfesser took a long hiatus from iRacing competition, came back a few years ago, and it was WSSR that made his first home for coming back to sim racing, and it was a few seasons ago. But Richard has grown into becoming a more faster, more consistent driver. But in his early times that we saw him here on WSSR, these early, very quick, just go as fast and bore out as fast as you can on these tires was his old strategy, and banking on a caution maybe might have been the key if you're pushing this hard. As all these drivers, we're getting 4 extra sets in pit road. So if we do, for some reason, get a caution at this point, you've got that extra set to come in pit road 4. Curious if some of these drivers are thinking, if we run hard, we might get that late caution that we've seen come out in those final 40 laps or so, and also in the middle of green flag pit stops. So drivers might be having different strategy calls, which one will be the best, but big kudos to Ollie Fonseca as he's trying to do a similar run to Cedric Hunter and push their way forward. But that 13, I think he's hit his wall, and he's fading quick.
All very informative information right there, Sam, and I think the biggest thing you said was right what you ended with. The 13, I'm worried about him too. He's dropping now through the field and also losing time. He's lost over 1.2 seconds just in like the last 3 to 4 laps. I mean, he pushed so hard. I know he did it the first time by, but maybe it was different. I don't think he drove as hard through that field. I mean, it was like 3 laps that he passed 14 cars, I feel. I just don't know how much is left in that car, and I hope for the Cedric Hunter fans that he's able to get it figured out, but he might need a caution, and these drivers are starting to get loose, so there could be one that happens.
I mean, I think what might have happened is Cedric Hunter made the aggressive push in those first 3 to 4 laps, and now is trying to back off, cool off those tires, make them last a little bit longer, and stay close to your championship contenders. While the other group that's just running for a win, you got Richard Wolfesser, Ollie Fonseca, they are still pushing forward. Ollie Fonseca's not just moved up to 24th, but Richard Wolfesser right in the mix of our championship drivers. The 56 has been making a lot of dive bomb sliding moves, and he's trying to get in the mix here, but I think his tires are starting to fade. But Richard Wolfesser, a valiant effort for himself currently, and Ollie Fonseca as well, in an issue where the 24 starting to fade. And this actually, seeing the 24, the 56, the way that they're running around some of these championship crew, it's our season 1 WSSR champ. That's almost 2.5 seconds ahead of this pack.
Yeah, he has opened up a huge lead, and he has to get it done. And right now he's leading laps, getting close to leading the most potentially, which could really help solidify himself later in this race if he needs that extra point. The bonus point for leading the most laps, very important, something we will keep tabs on.
Yeah, and it is almost a must for Brian P. Johnson. He's going to win this championship. Again, Brian P. Johnson, Larry Yingling, Cedric Hunter, I would say those 3 drivers, I mean everyone in a must-win scenario, but they are in a must-win scenario, and you need Zach Hall to practically finish last here tonight to still have a mathematical chance for this championship. Otherwise, you just attack, go as aggressive as you can, and hope for the best, as tonight's race still a long one to go, as we're not even halfway But up front, we've seen flipping a back and forth. Who's willing to be patient, who's not? Well, with Ollie Fonseca being passed, Gavin Rogers has finally got a clean air, and that almost 2.5-second gap, it has already shrunk to 2 seconds. Gavin Rogers wants the lead back, and Zach Hall does not want that 75 to just pull away with ease. Hall is now trying to run down Gavin Rogers.
Yeah, he is. And like you said, that lead is slowly starting to shrink, but it might not be too soon before these drivers are all going to be right there on Brian P. Johnson. It's about 2 seconds even, 2.1 right now through the corners. We'll see what it is at the line, but the 32, as you stated, he wants to stay close to the 75, stay in his draft down the straightaways, maybe try and save a little bit of tire here or run on the bottom, getting that clean air on the car as the 75 drifts up into that middle lane. But I would expect if Brian P. Johnson pushed hard, these drivers are now going to start catching him. But the thing is, he's out there leading laps at 28. He's putting down good lap time still. I know they're catching him, but if he can lead another 5 to 10 laps, that could go a long ways towards getting that bonus point.
Be just a long race of who can get it done. Looking at drivers that have led the most laps and won the race, or just led the most laps and got that bonus point. There's only been one driver that truly dominated at this race course, and it was Cedric Hunter back in season 3. He led 114 of 167 laps. Everyone else, it's been less than a third of the race that's been led, and they were crowned the most laps led driver. So a lot of these drivers know anywhere from 50 to potentially 60 laps led could gift you that bonus point. We already seen Gavin Rogers be up front, led the majority of that first stage. He just needs maybe another 20 to 25 laps, and then he could be in that high position of leading the most laps. And Brian P. Johnson, you know, to fight on. Stay up there, lead as many laps as you can, because later on this race, when there are pit stops, that's when you can maybe be gifted back to that most laps led position.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, it's 1.5 seconds now, so he's going to be thinking, how many more laps can I lead? That's going to be the big goal for him. But Zach Hall, he's got to get around the 75, because the 75 being out front right now, if he's going to take over this race lead eventually, as we are predicting, that could go a long ways towards him getting that bonus point. But right now, Zach Hall's right behind him. I mean, they're right on top of one another, and they're coming for this 28. It's going to be a battle. The next question is going to be who of our remaining championship 6 can get up there and battle these 3 drivers when they're all up there fighting as they start to slowly reel into 28.
As trouble further on back, and it might be our first caution. It does not come out. Douglas Newbigging in the 7 machine. Trouble striking for himself as he's going to get almost rear-ended, trying to slow down with the Richard Wolsifer off the exit of turn 4. Richard was really slow, and it hurt badly on the pace, as we'll take a replay of it. But Douglas Newbigging was trying to go for a big pass, but there was trouble in front of him. The 56 is going to snap loose, slows down, and Douglas Newbigging, quick to react, slams on the brakes, goes down in the grass, and goes for a ride, hitting ramp after ramp, and ultimately going for a spin. This does not bring out a yellow flag. We stay green, but Douglas Newbigging's just frustration for this season continues to linger on.
Yeah, he was really just up and down right there on the front straightaway. Had to be frustrating for him, but up front, these drivers aren't frustrated because they're about to battle for second position and maybe the lead, as they are now under 1 second behind the 28. Zach Hall is going to drive it in. Looks like he has really good long run speed. The 75 is going to slide high. Now move back to 3rd spot. Nick Crawford in 4th. These drivers are all slowly catching Brian P. Johnson. I say slowly, but it's getting faster and faster, it seems, each lap now.
It is certainly been getting quicker and quicker as Zach Hall, that last lap, a 31.4 second lap time, and it was to a 31.7 for Brian P. Johnson. Once again, even with that pass, Zach Hall continues to show extreme strength. And for the 32, I'm curious, with getting past Gavin Rogers, what seemed like so easily there, was that a tactical move by Rogers to save his tires, to go in an attack mode? Or was that a mistake? Because Zach Hall, he would look like the faster driver in the long run coming to the end of the stage, but just never could get a full pass made because the outside lane was just too strong. I'm curious if Rogers will have enough speed to try to go for a pass on this 32. And also for Brian P. Johnson, how hard is he willing to fight Zach Hall here? Or will he just lay over and let this race come to him? Because Brian P. Johnson, if you look at the long run pace the last 2 weeks, he's been horrendously terrible. And he's hoping that that could change. It won't. He's going to have to fight on the outside, but Hall is there. And Hall's looking for the better run. He finally will get it. Johnson with a little wiggle. And Hall back to the point.
I think that answered your question right there, how hard the 28 was willing to fight. He was willing to fight as hard as he could because he had the car a little sideways coming out of the corner. He was trying to gas it up and stay alongside the 32, pinch Zach Hall down, but he was not able to do it. The 28 now is losing speed. I mean, now this is where he's going to be in dirty air, and these drivers are all behind, and now you have to worry. He pushed so hard to get that big lead, and now it's all gone, and he's going to be under pressure here. Can he stay inside the top 10? So if we do get a caution, at least he's going to be up front to get a good restart. But if he keeps fading like we've seen in the past, can he fall outside the top 10? That could be detrimental to his night.
Who's got the speed to stick with our top two? For Zach Hall, this pass so crucial because for Zach Hall, if he runs with how close Gavin Rogers is in points now, with winning the stage, winning the pole, leading a lap, on track to lead the most laps, Gavin Rogers, if he had won this race, even with Zach Hall right behind him, Hall, who entered the night with a +3 advantage, would have lost this championship. Even with running in second, Gavin Rogers has hit every mark possible that you need to make this championship run. But now it's down to this. Will it be Gavin Rogers willing to get aggressive for the lead, or will he just settle as your other championship drivers? They're trying to find themselves in a comfortable position. I'm looking back at other drivers that have been having some good runs. I talked about drivers maybe trying to play a little bit of spoiler this evening. Brian Kelly runs 7th, Nick Crawford runs 6th. Both drivers teammates to someone that's in our championship 6. Nick Crawford, teammate to Zach Hall and Cedric Connor. Larry Yingling, teammate to Brian Kelly, teammate of Larry Yingling. Those drivers, they can be a key factor on, are you willing to get out of the way? Maybe block someone a little bit harder? There's going to be factors as we look at as this race progresses on, as we're closing in on the halfway of tonight's race. And Justin, I mean, this has been a picture-perfect championship race. Everything you can ask for, we're seeing right now of your favorites doing well, drivers showing adversity on the fact that they're willing to continue to fight even after mistakes, and we're still have over 80 laps to go.
Yeah, we have not had any shortness of excitement. It's been a tremendous race. I mean, right now, something that was going on in my mind is, you said his name for probably the first time tonight. You see him on camera, the number 3 machine. How many times do we say each week, Sam, oh, Brian Kelly, we haven't heard too much out of him, and then before you know it, halfway comes, and he's up to 3rd, up to 2nd, leading laps, walks away with the race. I mean, he's slowly making his way up there now. He's up to 5th. I know he's not in the championship race, but definitely deserves to be talked about because he's one of the best drivers in this league each week, and he could be he might just drive to the front and walk away with this race. We might be talking about who's going to finish 2nd and walk away with the championship.
It really could. As talking about Ryan Kelly up front, Gavin Rogers gave his first attempt. We're expecting of many. Goes for the lead position. Zach Hall defends as he runs that middle groove. I think Gavin Rogers up front might have recognized if you're gonna make a pass, you're gonna have to go to the outside this late into a run. And Rogers is trying to find a way to get to the outside quarter panel of Zach Hall and take this lead position back. But Hall continues to defend the outside groove. But Rogers is inking a little bit higher each and every lap later into the corner. And as they continue to battle back and forth, Vincent Sora, 2-time champion of this series, lingers behind as we hop on board with the Sundance Pizza machine of Gavin Rogers.
This will give us a great view on who's driving what. It looks like the 75 is able to roll through that corner a little bit better. He's going to get to the outside. The 32 wanted to come up and block. He was not able to. 75 is going to have him. He's going to be able to pinch the 32 down low. What can the 32 do? He's going to drive it in hard and try and slide up front, maybe. Slide up in front of him. He's going to do it. He's going to have a big run coming out of this corner, though. Will the 75 push the 32 off into this corner with more speed than he's willing? Looks like he's not going to get to his bumper.
I am shocked that Gavin Rogers did not have the speed to try to go for a crossover move. And I think for Rogers, recognizing, okay, I don't need to make the pass here. Instead, puts the pressure on Hall. Hall gasses up, gets a little bit wiggle and sideways. Here's a chance for a dive bomb move for Gavin Rogers to take the point. Rogers has the nose, has a half a car length down below. Major side draft from Hall, and the side draft was enough He stalls out the 75, and Rogers stays in second place. And knock, knock, here comes the two-time champ. Vincent Sora has entered the picture.
51 coming while these two battle, and I think what you just said, Sam, that was the big difference there. The 32, when he was on the outside of the 75, it seemed like going into turn 1 and 2, Zach Hall, he really made an emphasis to side draft and kind of stall the 75 out in that corner and take that air off the spoiler and make the car not handle. Whereas the corner before that, the 75 was on his outside, but he gave the 32 more space. Just didn't really utilize that side draft and kind of suck around the car on the inside, and I think that was the difference on how Zach Hall was able to keep the lead.
As Zach Hall once again trying to hold close that outside wall. Don't let the 75 have a chance to get it was outside, but instead Hall also knows Vincent Sora looking for some clean air. Hall has to find a way to defend both lanes. He'll move up, gives a little bit of dirty air off the exit of the corner to Rogers, and it tightens up that 75 where he has to back off, not able to utilize that huge run that the outside lane usually gives you, and instead it gives a chance to the 51. As now we're seeing that nightmare fuel machine. It's Vincent Sora with the nose ahead of Rogers. And like you just poked out and noticed on, Ryan Kelly up to fourth, but tagging along in the pink. Cedric Connor's fight is not over. He's now battling for fourth place.
Yeah, we were worried about the 13, but I don't know if we have to be worried anymore. Yeah, I think you called it, Sam. You said maybe he backed off and decided, you know what, let me run the next 10 to 12 laps. Kind of cool the tires off. He fell back to ninth, was losing time, but now he's gaining it back, and I think he's going to be one to watch out for. We know he's got tremendous speed. He's been passing cars all race. We know he's driving that car hard. He's been passing everyone. If he ever gets to the front, he might not have to pass anyone. He could just focus on saving tires. He could walk away with this race potentially, but we've said that about every driver. I think everyone's been up there leading at one point tonight.
Yeah, everyone wants a chance. Still, the championship 6. There's 2 that have yet to lead a lap. That's Vincent Sora as well as Cedric Connor, and they run 4th and 3rd currently. As Cedric Connor still is trying to get by Ryan Kelly. If possible, finally will be able to clear so. And now it's the 2 drivers that have been dominating and the 2 that have been waiting patiently for their chance to attack. It's Cedric Connor, Vincent Sora. Where could they find an opening here? Or is it going to come all the way down to a pit stop here late? Again, these drivers have been running on 43-lap old tires and fuel. As Gavin Rogers looks for an opening to the inside, he's going to have the nose ahead. Not able to lead that lap. It will go to Zach Hall, but Hall still has a chance. He's been side drafting aggressively off the corner, and Vincent Sora's going to follow. Will Sora have the big enough run to try to go 3 wide off the exit of this corner into 3? Not able to do so, but he'll give a chance. Sora to the inside for second place.
Now he's going to look to the inside and see what he could do, trying to roll up there, and he's got to clear the 75 come out of this corner. The 75, you see him get a little twitchy again, kind of crossing over those seams. He's not going to be able to get by, but he's going to have a little bit of drafting help. The 32 is going to pull down. Right now, is this Zach Hall saying, let me play both of these lanes and give each driver a little bit of drafting help, try and keep them side by side so that they both abuse their cars. But while they do that, the 13 is coming.
He certainly is there, and we are now 20 laps away from when we are expecting drivers to maybe think about pit stops. Also, the pit window will officially be opening up in just 8 to 9 laps. That is going to be the furthest distance if you're not calculating for overtime that you can do an early pit stop. And who could potentially be that driver to watch out for? I think it could be the 6 to 7 of Larry Yangling might be that championship driver to make the early pit stop, as Vincent Sora, his first attempt to try to go for the lead position, not able to do so. Rogers, though, follows Zach Hall, trying to give a bump, trying to push ahead, now slides down low, and Gavin Rogers almost able to do a slide job move on Hall, but Hall continues the side draft, continues the pressure, and Rogers with the slight wiggle, but he keeps the nose ahead as they cross the line. It's Hall who leads this lap.
Hall gets 1 extra more lap right there, something we'll have to talk about later in this race if it comes down to just a tie on lap sled or how close it is. I mean, it's just so interesting. And these drivers are all just kind of in this group stuck together now, and we have to talk about it. Brian P. Johnson, he fell back to 6th. We were worried maybe he was going to fall back further with how hard he drove in the beginning. I think he realized he was able to cool the tires, and now he's right back in it. I mean, it's going to come down to pit stops. Is someone willing to go in early and get the tire advantage, but will they pay that price? Or will they go in early, get the fresh tires, Sam, and maybe just run really easy? Maybe try and get 2 or 3 laps sooner in the pit road and not run hard at all on those tires. Maybe just try and get a 2 or 3 tenth of a second advantage. But if you could build up a lead and then I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this, Sam. There's so much going on. There's so much strategy play on this final pit stop.
Again, the fuel window we were given was 66 to potentially 68 laps. You could push the fuel. 66, you feel comfortable. Anything more than that, we have seen drivers attempt major fuel-saving runs, and we've seen cautions happen in the last few weeks, a lot in the middle of a green flag pit stop. This track is not the easiest place to get into pit road, quite easy to make mistakes, and with the wear and tear we were hearing from drivers, they were giving reports in their driver chat, giving each other data of what was your tires like after the stage break. And the stage was only 40 laps, and we stayed green all the way through. Some drivers talked about their front tires being all the way down to 60% wear. They only had 60% wear left on their tires for the rest of that run. We are now they were now 50 laps into this run. That wear is probably less than 50% left. They're going to get close on those tires being in a very desperational spot here when they're about to hit pit road.
Yeah, and that's just what makes it exciting. When you say that, it makes you not want to pit too early, because now you got to go, as of right now, if you were to pit, you still got to go 67 laps, which would be max distance on fuel. So these drivers are probably wanting to stay out as long as they can so they have the fresher rubber for the end. But if someone does go in early, they're going to have a big advantage, and then your job's going to come down to trying to catch them. And we see drivers be able to catch people who have big leads, but the problem's going to be, can you do it? Because you're not going to have that caution. Everything's going to come down into pit stops. You got to have a great stop, as now the 13's up to third position, got around the 51, and Vincent Sora going to try and set his sights on getting around to 75 and to 32 and lead that first lap of the night for the 13.
And if you're Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter, Ryan P. Johnson, Larry Yingling, your nightmare for this championship, if you would like to win it, is the fact that the top two drivers are the top 2 points. If it comes down to Zach Hall and Gavin Rogers being 1-2, it's whoever wins this race on who's going to win the championship. There's 1 bonus point for winning the championship. So technically, if you win the race and your competitor finishes second, that's 2 bonus points that are added at the end of this race. On top of, Gavin Rogers and Zach Hall both would like to be known as the driver that led the most laps. That's an extra bonus point, and Hall needs every point possible, as he's only got just a 1-point advantage over Gavin Rogers at this moment.
Yeah, it's just 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. It's just so close. But the 13, he's getting closer and closer to getting his 1 point for leading a lap. Both of these drivers are going to enter high, the 32 and the 75. The 13 is going to have that clean air on the bottom. Is he going to get the run? He's going to come out side by side. But does he have the drafting help? Looks like the 32 is going to try and keep them both side by side. He's going to give a little help to the 13, come up and give a little help to the 75, trying to play leader and keep these guys side by side, but it's going to get harder and harder as they get faster and faster behind them.
And this is that hard spot if you're Cedric Hunter, because you know that you're running for a championship. Zach Hall's your teammate. He's also running for the championship. Hall is the ultimate favorite at this moment with where he runs. If you're the 13 Hello Kitty machine, the only way you're winning this championship is by winning this race and have your competition wreck out. But do you play a little bit defensive? As Gavin Rogers snaps loose off the exit of turn 4, there's the opportunity. Now up to second, it's Hello Kitty, who's been putting all the pressure, has worked his way from last to the top 6. Now from 20th up to second, but Vincent Sora playing a little bit of spoiler to the inside, the 51 wants that second place position, but Hunter holds steady on the outside ground, and with Hunter playing so defensive, willing to side draft this hard for just second place, it's giving Zach Hall all the spacing to pull away, as we are now inside of your zone. You can pit from here and make it to the end of the race.
Yeah, 62 to go. With the 13, he cleared second place. Now he has his sights set on his teammate. How quick can he run him down? Will he be able to run him down? You see a slight twitch right here.
Trouble behind him. Nick Crawford gets into the wall as he was just riding on, was snapping loose a couple laps in a row, and finally it just broke. Luckily he had the outside wall to keep him straight, but Nick Crawford, his run for trying to be helpful to his Snowy Desert teammates of Hall and Hunter makes him fall back to 7th.
Yeah, I wonder, will Nick Crawford go into pits now? Here, 60 to go. Will he be the first one to hit pit road after having that slight hiccup there?
Oh, trouble! Oli Fonseca, caution flag is out!
That's going to change everything. 60 to go. These drivers are going to come in, definitely get tires. And it's going to be Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter leading them into the pits here in about 1 lap when they settle through under this caution.
What in the world happened to Ollie Fonseca? As he is going to have trouble on the front stretch in a spot that we rarely talk about, but is a very tricky spot. The transition from race surface to apron, Ollie snaps loose right there.
Wow, I mean, the car just gets light on those old tires, and yeah, you see it happen sometimes. It's just, wow, we'll be on board right here.
You can see just working the outside groove, trying his best to keep the nose moving straight. Right when he goes down to the line, it just snaps loose and takes off to the outside.
Yeah, it's just that transition, and you feel it sometimes in the steering wheel. The steering wheel starts pulling to the left when you get down there on that apron because it's flat, and it kind of just, a lot of times that diffuser underneath the car bottoms out a little bit, and it gets that steering wheel light, and he just did a quick overcorrection to the right. But pit stop, Sam, 32, 13, 51, 75. They got to all enter good, and it's going to be about coming out on that front row, so you have a chance to battle for the lead.
Cedric Hunter going to be the first driver to go into his box. And it is a clean entry for the 13. Zach Hall going to be the next driver to go into pit road. And he's going to try to get cleanly into his box. Made a mistake, lost position of Vincent Sora during the stage caution. Clean entry for all championship contenders. It's now down to your pit road. Can your crew give you the best stop you could ask for? 4 tires and fuel. This will be the final stop of the night unless there's a later caution. Would anyone gamble for 2? No, it's 4 tires for all, and it's Hall and Hunter and Vincent Sora, your top 3. Gavin Rogers falls to 4th, with Brian P. Johnson, Nick Crawford, Ken Campbell will be moving up to 7th. Ryan Kelly 8th, 9th. Shane Terrian and Danny Cochran, your top 10. Larry Yingling losing massive ground, though, as he will be all the way down to 13th position. The 3-time champ, he's going to need a miracle at this point to run and take this championship away from, honestly, the top 2 drivers. It's been the Gavin Rogers and Zach Hall show so far this race, but Justin, less than 60 laps to go. There's not as much tire saving if you're going to take stretching all the way to the end of this race, but I would say for most of the field, this was around the zone that they were thinking about pitting, so this works out, except for the drivers that are hoping that maybe a pit strategy would be their key to win this race.
It really makes you wonder now, like you said, less laps to go. We're going to have about 57 laps to go on the restart. So we just saw these drivers pretty much go about 63 to 64 laps on green, on the tires on a green flag run there. So we know that they at least have that in their mind that they're going to only have to go about 8 laps less. So you have to start thinking back to what we just saw in this last stint. Brian P. Johnson got out there, had a huge 2.5 second lead, and then it faded. We thought he was in loose spots. He was able to keep it cool, keep the tires cool down, and then stay with the front 5. So now he's got about 7 less laps to do that. So maybe if he does that same thing as last time, does he drive hard, get the big lead, and try and defend? It just opens up the strategy play. These drivers know how many laps are left and how hard they could push it based off of the first 103 laps.
And as this run has progressed, we haven't really talked about it much here tonight, but it has been a big swing on the weather side of things. The miles per hour on the wind has been shifting dramatically, anywhere from 9 miles per hour up to about 16 miles per hour has been the wind. Watching it the last couple of laps, and the track temperature, a nice warm 94 degrees, ambient temperature 87 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is a warm day here at Las Vegas, no surprise. A little bit cooler as we're into the fall season compared to where Las Vegas would traditionally be when NASCAR's around. But gotta say, Justin, the fact that there's a lot of wind, I know that's a factor on the looseness conditions. But this race is now in the hands of Zach Hall, but a new factor has emerged. He will now be restarting up front. Cedric Hunter did not lose track position, luckily, on this pit stop. He will be restarting second.
And it makes us wonder up here in the booth, all the fans watching back home, you have to start wondering, how is the 13 going to drive this restart? We know he's clearly got really good long run speed. He's been driving so hard through the field, so we know he was abusing his tires. But now up front, does he take it easy and stay in that top 5, or does he just go out there and take the lead and make these drivers get around him? I have to say, I feel like he has probably the best overall long run car.
I would agree with that. He certainly does. For those that are just joining us, I know that we've had a large cluster join in. A lot of people rooting for Gavin Rogers. If there's any other people rooting for drivers, put the number of the car you're rooting for. We got Zach Hall in the 32, Cedric Hunter in the 13, Vincent Sora in the 51. I know there's a bunch of 75 fans out there for Gavin Rogers. 28 of Brian P. Johnson, and Larry Yingling, who's the lone driver outside of our top 10, but he's back in 14th for the 67. We appreciate all those that are watching with us as you are watching the Freaky Fast finale for the WSSR Cup Series. Who will hoist the Season 9 championship? Zach Hall has the points lead entering tonight. With all the bonus points Gavin Rogers has caught, if Rogers wins and Hall finishes second, Gavin Rogers would win the championship. Hall's decision, though, is to be up front and lead every lap possible to get the most laps led bonus point and get this win. As we are back to green flag action, not a great launch for the 13. It's Zach Hall, Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter in line as they exit out of turn number 2.
Yeah, 13's going to be stuck down on the inside right here down the back straightaway. He's going to lose his spot, like you said, to the 51, but also potentially to the 75. And then Brian B. Johnson, he's right there. We know how fast he was on the beginning of the run. So we'll see what he's going to do right here as these drivers are all back on top of one another. And right there, 32 going to get another lap led. But Vincent Sora, he's going to try and get around. He wants to get that first lap led tonight, Sam. Yeah, how hard is he going to push this car right now? We got 55 laps to go.
Gavin Rogers is going to be put in a tricky spot. He finally is able to clear Nick Crawford and Brian P. Johnson. Drivers further on back into the outside wall. They look to be the 3 of Ryan Kelly having troubles. But the driver that's falling backwards looks to be Tom Sinchek. In a little bit of worrisome spot in the middle of the field is just a gaggle of colors. And seeing Shane Tarian, who at one moment was a factor up front, he's now just watching our championship 4 up front. Championship 5 as Brian P. Johnson tries the 3rd lane, looking for a massive run, tries to get to the outside of the 75. Gavin Rogers not able to do so. But for the lead position, Zach Hall, Vincent Sora, they will be side by side, and Hall's in a tough spot. This is early in the run. Are you willing to give up the lead position, or do you fight for this most laps led bonus point?
Yeah, that's the hardest question right now to answer. I don't know what you do, because how do you, if you save any tire right now, I mean, you could fall back to like the 10th or 12th spot. Look how close these guys are, and we only have 52 laps to go, so I mean, it just gets nervous when you start losing spots. I mean, what if a caution comes out too? Then you're talking you gave up spots, plus the caution comes out, now you have to restart back in 8th or 10th.
I mean, this is that desperation late caution, right? There's no green flag pit stops. You know, it's all about positioning yourself, be up front. We've had multiple cycles now to learn how the tires work, how you need to position yourself to hold pit spots late in this race. So everyone knows it is critical to get into a top position, save your tires, and it is all going to happen in the first 15 laps on who's going to be in a position to maybe be the major factor for your best finish of the season, going for a championship. And it all is on this run. The next 8 laps are critical on save your tires, but somehow find yourself be aggressive as Larry Yingling in the mix there. He was getting really close as the field is on top of one another. They're 4 wide with Yingling on top, battling for 9th position. He has to back out of it, but it is looking like a Christmas tree with the way that we're stacked 4 wide, 3 wide, 2 wide, and just 1 up front as everyone's trying to find their openings and take spots away. And it is still Zach Hall up front, but Larry Yingling just cannot find an opening to go forward. He still finds himself on the outside 3rd lane, looking for a massive run, trying to tag along to get by Danny Cochran with Vincent Sora. And this is all the action in the middle of the field for just the top 5 spots. And then up front, Gavin Rogers is trying to take the lead from Zach Hall.
It is absolutely fascinating how these drivers are able to make passes when they want, but at what price on the tires do they pay? We just saw the 51. We thought he was going to get up there and lead the race. Now look at him. He's stuck on that outside line there about 3 rows back, and he's back in 7th position. Zach Hall, he almost lost the lead to Gavin Rogers. Now Gavin Rogers falls back to 3rd. Brian P. Johnson drives up to 2nd, and he's alongside the 32. And Larry Yingling had the bad pit stop. It seems like anyone who has a bad pit stop tonight just drives to the front, Sam.
They drive to the front, but can they do a similar reenactment of Cedric Hunter, of drive up quickly, save the tires for the rest of the run, and then be there at the end with the top 3 drivers? That's going to be the hard thing, is trying to mimic that type of a run, because for Brian P. Johnson, Larry Yingling, these last couple of races, noted on it a lot the last couple of weeks, but they are aggressive, it seems like, late in these races, banking on a caution, and then they want to make sure they've got track position if that late caution comes out, but the caution never does. They just fall like a rock through the field, and that's my big worry currently for the 28 and the 67. Are they pushing these vehicles too hard? And his competition behind our championship drivers, maybe pushing a little bit too hard. Shane Tarrant, Ken Campbell, Danny Cochran, 3 wide up the exit of the corner, and behind them, Meyer back and looking for an opening. Vincent Sora looks like he's trapped behind a barrier. They're 3 wide in front of the 51 as he sees his championship hopes driving away.
I am getting really worried about him. I mean, he's back there in about 9th position now, and yeah, you might be thinking saving tires, all this stuff, but how do you save tires when you have guys all over you? You just, I don't know if you could really save tires. You're in dirty air, so you can't really run the clean line, and you're maybe running in the higher middle lanes, maybe running on the bottom, getting pinched out of the corner, abusing tires. So can you really even save tire right now, Sam, when you're running this close together back there? I almost think that guys like Brian P. Johnson, Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter up there in the top 3, they might be saving more tires than being back here behind this craziness of action.
I mean, Cedric Hunter's proved it, right? Like, you can make 15 passes, settle for 5 to 8, and then you can push your way through and still be in contact with your top 5 drivers. It's all about patience, though. Find an opening where you feel like you're safe, and then be aggressive while everyone else is falling off on their tires that they overcooked it. But at this current moment, I mean, Zach Hall is more than willing to see Brian P. Johnson pull away because he's already done this move before. Zach has watched Johnson and Shane Tarrant pull out to over a second lead, and then they reel back that group within the next 10 laps because those tires are cooked. I am shocked to see Brian P. Johnson pull the same exact move that didn't work the last run. He is still pulling away and putting down some of the fastest laps. He's trying to back off his pace, but everyone else says, now you can go a little bit faster if you like. We'll continue to go about a tenth or two slower.
Oh, I agree with you. You have to think what happened in the first, about from lap 50 till lap 100. You have to think that's got to be on his mind, but maybe he's thinking it's towards the end of this race and these drivers are going to race so hard that maybe it'll race these guys a little harder back there and they can't save some tires. Right now, the 9 is in front of the 32, and then you got Ken Campbell, another driver who, if he could get around the 32 and the 13, that's going to be someone else they'll have to pass. So, yeah, they can, but have to remember, 8 less laps that they're going to be running. So that's 8 less laps that Brian P. Johnson has to worry about the tires falling off.
And you also brought it up during that run after the stage was over. Brian was out front for 25, 30 laps. If he continues to be up front, he could steal away that most laps led bonus point that maybe Zach Hall would prefer to grab. But as long as it's not going to Gavin Rogers, I think Hall is okay. And if anyone else wins and Hall is in front of Gavin Rogers, that championship goes to Hall. Zach Hall can't finish a position behind Gavin, but it would be a tough, cross your fingers and hope for the best finish, because if there's a tie, there's multiple different tiebreakers. So you have the most wins, that tiebreak goes to that driver. But if you have a tie there, then it would go to the most second places of the season, and it would continue to go down until we find where there's a difference between the drivers of Gavin Rogers and Zach Hall. They could be within points of one another before this race is over. About to be 40 laps to go, and it's Brian P. Johnson, Shane Tarrant trying to pull away Zach Hall's former teammates as they try to find themselves leading the charge. Ken Campbell, who's had probably the worst luck besides Douglas Newbegin this season, runs right behind Hall, and Hall's got some buffers as Gavin Rogers, Vincent Soar, Cedric Hunter are trying to find their openings to power through, and it looks like for Gavin Rogers, green light's open. It's time for the 75 to go forward.
Just like that, the 75 moves forward and bring in behind him Vincent Sora, who now is starting to slowly move back up to the front. And the 13, he's going to lose 1 or 2 spots here coming out of the corner. And I'm not going to rule out anyone because I feel like all night we've seen guys come and go as they want. The question is, do you come at the right time and not end up risking hurting those tires so you don't have them for the final 5 to 10 laps if this stays green?
And all these drivers hoping for the best. 40 laps to go. This, if you haven't already, this is the time to share the broadcast to those that want to maybe see Zach Hall hoist his first ever championship. If you want to see Gavin Rogers hoist his first ever championship as a rookie, you better get those that want to watch this moment happen live out there in chat, as these drivers are going to give us quite a show. They don't need to pit. This race could go to the end staying green, and Las Vegas has been notoriously known for taking it all the way to the end with minimal cautions. We've already had a few, but I think we got a feeling that as long as these racers can keep it together, keep these drivers and cars pointing straight, it is going to be a dogfight to the end. It's going to come down to those final 2 to 3 laps on who's going to be ahead of who to win this championship as they squeeze just for a little bit. It's Aaron Smith II, Brian Noel, Lucky Ducks, who we haven't talked about all night long. The lone 2 Lucky Duck drivers, they're wanting to put their hand in the hat and move forward. Oh no, Hunter into the grass.
No, he went through the infield there. He got clipped coming out of the corner. So much valuable time gone. He's going to have to pass all those cars for the 3rd time tonight. But this late into the run, you have to feel it might be it for him. So unfortunate. Coming out of the corner, it looked like they were 3 wide, the 70, and that car in the middle. Didn't catch the number, Sam, but just...
It was 07, Brian Noel. Former teammates of Cedric Hunter. Hunter used to be teammates with the Lucky Duck crew. And just in a blink of an eye, you're going to see here from the blimp view off the exit of the corner, Brian Noel, rear end just comes tail slapping down on the 13, and look like 13 also squeezed up just a little bit. You're 3 wide. You're trying to minimize mistakes, but that one, this late in the run, Hunter needs a caution, and he needs it bad to get back into this fight. We've seen him climb through the field multiple times before. He's going to have to do it once again as drivers up front, they're single filing out. The racing action isn't over. This is that little bit of chess match. Who's willing to use their tires? Who's waiting for the final 20 to 15 laps to push forward?
Yeah, and that final 15 to 20 laps is coming fast. I mean, these drivers, they're starting to get a little bit spread out now. That 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th are kind of in their little bubble, and then the top 5 are in their little bubble. But you have to start wondering, I mean, the 9, he's caught the 28. Now the 32's catching him. So did he maybe slow up a little bit, let these guys catch him a little bit and try and save a little bit of tire? I don't know, because the 9's there right now. So he's got caught faster this time than he did in the previous one.
Yeah, I mean, he did his best to stay up front. Now Shane Terry going to be trying to take that top spot. Zach Hull, though, going to look for an opening. And is Hull willing to make the daring move to go 3 wide? Because Hall needs to get by these drivers as soon as possible, get clean air, be the lead driver so you can control whatever lane you need to defend. Gavin Rogers and Vincent Sora behind you. Shane Darian's played very nicely with Hall. We'll see if that niceness continues as this race goes on. Another driver having issues further on back. It's Danny Cochran who's going to be driving through the grass, but we stay green as the battle for the lead. The see if Zach Hall can get to the point. And will Shane Terrian play any defensive moves back in 3rd place to help out his former teammate? Hall trying to get by Brian P. Johnson. He has to motor his way forward, but once again, the big wiggle, it stalls him out. And now Brian P. Johnson to the outside, Terrian to the inside, battling for 2nd. But Hall where he needs to be, up front, trying to pull away with the laps tick down. 32 laps to go for the 32 machine.
Yeah, 32 to go. Good point right there. And this race is getting closer and closer to the end. And the 32, he just runs the bottom so well. Look at that. He just turns off to the bottom and the car stays down there. Something that I'm impressed with on him is that ability just to be able to pull to the bottom. One thing I noticed, the 75, his car is really good. And that when he runs that middle line in 3 and 4, seems like he's able to come out of the corner, run in the middle line, and turn to the bottom and carry that momentum. And that might be how he makes his passes. Right now, he's going to go through the middle. And then the 51, he also...
Rogers! Big slide for himself. Luckily, he held on. But that 75 snapping loose as he was being side-drafted by Sora. He'll lose 2 spots with that. It's a little bit of a slide.
Yeah, and it just heats those tires up a little bit. So just got to maybe cool them back here. And look at this, the 70. Haven't really got to talk too much about him tonight. We know he's a fast driver. He's coming now. I mean, can he play spoiler? Get up there and get that win. He's right here in 6th position and kind of caught this field really quick.
Aaron Smith II was hoping the last 3 races that it would turn into fuel mileage runs that would fall into his hands. Just was not the case. And with now fuel mileage being thrown out the window, it's all about raw speed, and he had the 70 yellow machine trying to make his mark and show that he was a driver to watch out for this season. Missed out on the championship round, and Aaron Smith second, put the pressure on these championship hopefuls. There's still plenty of time to make these passes with Brian P. Johnson's hopes for this championship. We needed a perfect night, and it just has not been going the way that he would hope. The 28 falls to the 6th. Looking at other championship hopefuls of Larry Yingling back in 13. They need, like I've said from the top of the broadcast and all the way through, both the 28 and the 67 need some major mistakes to have a chance for this championship. And also, as this run goes on, Vincent Sora, as he lost more ground at the end of the stage. The 51 also needing to see Zach Hall and Gavin Rogers get caught up in a wreck if he wants a chance for this championship. And also the 13 of Cedric Hunter, he's only been able to march back up to 8th place after that big slide through the grass, but he's doing his best to get up to 5th position if possible. As you see here, battling with his teammate Nick Crawford, and seeing the Storm Motorsports driver Ken Campbell doing their best as they almost go 3 wide off the exit of 4.
3 wide. It seems like every lap we have someone 3 wide. This race has been phenomenal to watch. It's exciting wherever you find it. You just put the camera anywhere and you pretty much can find a battle. Look at the 74. I mean, he is up inches from the wall, trying to get a big run. Is he going to go make it 3 wide? No, he's going to give a big push to the 13, trying to send the 13 off with some speed down into that corner. But wow, I mean, what a race here. We're under 30 to go now. It's just lap after lap of excitement. The 13 gets super loose coming out of the corner, able to save it. Now he's going to, oh yeah, I thought he was going to cut down there in front of the 74. Luckily, this spotter told him, do not do that.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Crawford trying his best to help his teammate out, and ultimately the tires are just gone for Cedric Hunter. He needs a caution badly with all the ways that he has marched his way through the field. He's tried every attempt to go from last to first, and I think that last one might have just crossed a little bit too far on the limits, and after that contact between himself and Brian Noel, which the 13's already gotten by, and oh, speaking of Noel, there he goes into the grass for the 07. He's going to be sliding through. He's sliding back onto the track. Will this bring out a caution? He's down on the apron. He's cruising back up. He's not turning now. No caution is thrown. He's turning again. Oh, Noel, he's trying to bring out a caution.
Wow.
Is he going to take off and go? No, he spins again. What is Noel doing? Wow. And drivers behind were the ones that brought the yellow instead. It was Richard Wolsifer. Danny Cochran, and others. Wolsifer spins out in front of a couple of drivers, and that's what officially brings out the yellow, but multiple crews. It felt like they were wanting a caution to come out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that the caution was for something else. We're going to check that right now and see what happened there. I mean, this was setting up for a crazy finish, but we'll see right here what happened, Sam.
It just was oddball moment after oddball moment. And what in the world? Richard Wolfer snaps loose in the middle of the corner, overcorrects it right in front of Christopher Wade and Danny Cochran. Both of those drivers' nights are looking to be done. And we need to do a ride along because we kind of saw it already from an outside perspective. I'm just curious on what was going through the mind of Noel here, because pulls off, holds the brake, okay. Not turning, just staying in 5th gear, it spins out, holds the brake again, shifts down, and it doesn't make sense on the move there. But I will say this, that's up to the admins to deal with. That is not our decision, but it certainly looked absolutely confusing and a weird scenario. But this now puts the field in a spot of pit road being so crucial, and they are racing off of pit road now, and Zach Hall is going to be the driver that wins off of pit road. 4 tires and fuel for the 32. And Vincent Sora going to be in 2nd, Shane Terrian in 3rd, Gavin Rogers 4th, Brian P. Johnson 5th, Douglas Newbegin 6th, 7th is Nick Crawford, and Aaron Smith the 2nd, 8th. With Cedric Hunter getting that crucial caution he needed, he will be in 9th and 10th of Ken Campbell.
Yeah, and these drivers, I mean, now 20 laps to go. It's not going to matter, Sam, with tires, I don't think. I mean, I would think they're all going to be pushing as hard as they can, and I think anyone who did any practice, I'm sure they did a super hard run to see exactly when these tires fall off, so they know exactly how hard they can push. But you can't save tires and give up positions now.
Absolutely not. And curious if, because we saw that incident happen, if maybe we can go back and if we have a chance to look at the 56's point of view. I know he snapped loose on that wreck. I know we might not have the chance to go back and rewatch that replay, but I know for Richard Wolsifer, he had issues, and that just sucks to see, as he was trying his best to save this and trying to see that wheelmanship.
Yeah, we're right on board right here. Listen to see what happened.
As he goes down, cranking the wheel, trying to hit his marks, it just snaps loose. Tries to save the wrecks in. It's the apron. We see the apron on the front stretch. He could be in troublesome spotting. There it goes.
Yeah, he made
that was the reason for their caution coming out and resetting this field with 20 laps to go for the championship.
Yeah, he made a valiant effort there to try and save that car. You could see him seesaw to try and save it. So you hate to see it because he had a great run going, but this brings out the caution. I mean, 21 to go now.
As now this is going to give that chance for everyone else, especially Gavin Rogers, which for Gavin Rogers, all he needs to do to win this championship is go out and win this race. Zach Hall is in a spot where he just needs to make sure he is ahead of Gavin Rogers, and he will take the championship. And as long as they are ahead of everyone else by 6 positions of Vincent Sora and also Cedric Hunter, it is just between the two drivers of the 32 and the 75, as we are going to be going around for another lap. I mean, Justin, this race turned upside down now. We thought it was crazy before when they were trying to save fuel. Now it's time to see what's up there for how more aggressive can they possibly get.
Yeah, and it just gives us another lap here to build the drama. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot one more time while we have a second here. Walk us through the points really quick. We pretty much know it's going to come down to Zach Hall, Gavin Rogers, but what can Vincent Sora do? What can Brian P. Johnson do? Do they even have a chance anymore?
I mean, they still mathematically have a chance, but they need to be about looking at the numbers for Cedric Hunter to win the championship. He needs to be about 15 points or 15 positions ahead of Zach Hull and Gavin Rogers. For Vincent Sora, he needs to be 10 positions ahead of Gavin Rogers and Zach Hull. They're both in a position where they kind of need Gavin Rogers and Zach Hull to be knocked out of this race. It looks to be really down to the 32 and the 75 if everyone is pointing in the right direction from here on out.
And if Zach Hall finishes in front of Gavin Rogers?
If Gavin Rogers wins this race, he will be able to win the championship. Otherwise, he needs to be 2 positions ahead of Zach Hall, unless the most laps led somehow goes to the 75. So then he can just be 1 position behind Hall. Those are the small little things, but again, we'll wait and see how this race goes on, because they first got to stay out on track, pointing in the right direction for 20 laps. It's Hall, Sora, Therian, as well as Rogers, your top 4. Douglas Newbigin going to be the new factor. How is the Lucky Ducks driver, who's had trouble all season with self-spinning, will he finally keep that nose pointed straight, as now we see Vincent Sora ducking down low. Sora knows the lead can be grabbed, and you can hold for a win if you make the pass now.
Now this 51 got to run down that back straightaway. Didn't have the best of restarts, but he got the best of that corner because he's flying through the corner. Now, Gavin Rogers, he's going to try and push, go to the outside. They're going to go 3 wide off into this corner. Who's going to push the hardest? 19 laps to go to 75 to 32. They're going to make contact potentially.
Rogers holds on to it, keeps his foot in the throttle, and to the lead goes Gavin Rogers. He needed a caution. He got the caution. Sadly, it was from his teammate that brought out the yellow, but he's going to do his best to try to push his way forward. Now Zach Hall knows retaliation needs to be the key. Get to the outside, go for a pass, but will they wreck behind? These drivers are smoking. That's Chris Stitz, who gets a little bit slow further on back. Now it's Gavin Rogers, Zach Hall in line. Shane Therian trying to move his way forward, but will it be the drivers that are being patient right now, waiting for the final 5 laps, have the tires later on? But Gavin Rogers, our pole sitter, to the point, to the lead, where he was so comfortable back at the beginning of this race.
Yeah, he's right there zigzagging down the back straightaway, trying to break the draft, trying to give any advantage to himself and let the 32 not have any advantage. But as you say that green machine, we know how fast he's been tonight. He's coming. The 9, Shane Therian, he's flying up there. Brian P. Johnson, he's flying too. But these drivers are all pushing hard. I don't expect anyone to give anyone a break. They're all going to push hard. No one wants to give up any spots right now. 17 to go. Will the tires hold up right now, or is the 32, is he able to stay back there and keep them cool? Is he going to make one last run here in the final 17?
Sundance Pizza Machine of Gavin Rogers. For most of the season, he was known as the hot lap wonder because he would get the pole, but then would fade away later on in the race. He was so strong early on. Here tonight, he needed a perfect race. He got the pole, which gave him the bonus point. He got up front and led a lap, another bonus point. Won the stage, another bonus point. And now finds himself being up front late in this race, 16 laps to go. And Gavin Rogers, with the spacing and time, trying to find himself into victory lane to win the championship. Zach Hall cannot allow this 75 to win this race, otherwise he'll lose the championship that he entered the night with the advantage with.
15 to go. The 32's trying everything he can right now, but he's got to play defense behind him. He's got the 9 pressuring him. The 75 is out front, like you said. He's got to get around him. It's under 0.3 of a second. He's right there on screen. He seems to run the bottom so well, but the 75 is entering a little bit higher, holding it down to the bottom, carrying that momentum down the straightaway. There's a little bit of contact behind him. Looks like Vincent Sora maybe slid up into the wall just a speck there.
Just a little bit, but you got to give everything at this moment. If you got any little bit of speed, any little bit of contact you can throw away, this is the time to just send it all. 14 laps to go, and will there be a turnover on the tires? Because it looks like it's going to be a mano-a-mano battle. Shane Therian not really putting a lot of pressure on the fact that he's going to go down and make a pass on Zach Hall. He recognizes and knows this situation. It's for a championship. It's Hall, it's Rogers, but who would be willing to make a move? Is it going to be a dive down slide job move? Will it be a march to the outside? Could it be a bump and run? A lot of scenarios are going to bubble up, but ultimately you have to make sure you've got the tires underneath you to make these moves, because Justin, we've seen here tonight, it's so easy to overcook these tires and lose any chance to run down the crew in front of you.
Yeah, and right now these top 2 are staying so equal. And there it is. The 9 is just getting closer and closer. And like you said, is he going to make a move, or will he not and let these 2 race? And I mean, he's in a tough spot. He wants to get that win. He had so many chances this year to have wins, and he deserved to have so many races won, and we thought he would definitely win. And right now he has a chance to do it tonight. But what's he going to do? I think he wants to race. He wants to go. But right now these drivers are all pushing so hard, no one can really make up the ground like we saw earlier in the race.
I mean, I think he would love to go, would love to push and go for this win, but I think Shane Therian, he might be in a position where he might bump draft and help Zach Hall here. Again, former teammates was Hall and Shane Therian with Brian P. Johnson. Johnson's kind of hopes of a championship have kind of dwindled away. Therian, though, he saw his championship hopes be taken away late in a race, maybe trying to help a former ally here late for a chance.
Yeah, the 32 gets into turns 3 and 4 really, really well, but I feel like the 75 exits the corner really well, which carries that speed down the front straightaway, and that's the difference right now. And it just seems like I think Zach's car comes really in about 20 to 25 laps into a run, but we don't have 20 to 25 laps in the run. We have about 10 laps left, and I don't know if the turnover is going to happen like you said on these tires.
Will they flip with these final 10 laps? I think it's those final 5 laps are going to be the big key here. Did Gavin Rogers overcook his tires? Did Zach Hall maybe save enough here and just try to keep it an equal distance as possible? Oh, because if these 2 drivers, here's the thing, Zach Hall and Gavin Rogers are going to get racy. They're going to try to get close to one another. Gavin Rogers has to make sure that that Zach Hall never gets close to him, because if they somehow wreck each other here late, this would gift the championship to Vincent Sora, or even over to Cedric Hunter. As drivers are spinning behind, it's Brian Noel who's spinning around. Caution is out. This race isn't over yet.
You have to go in and get tires, I would think, right? Will people stay out? I mean, what do? We have so many cars on the lead lap still. I can't wait to see these pit stops. I don't know. Do you take rights only?
I don't know what the decision is. You have 1 set left. What do you go for here is the true question.
I mean, it's going to be about a 4-lap shootout. I mean, right side tires could be the call. I mean, they fire off fast. I see plenty of times where right side tires, they fire off so good. You just need 3 laps.
And it was the 07 of Brian Noel self-spinning off the exit of the corner, bringing out this caution. And here we go. Decision time. Do you pit? Do you stay out? I would imagine you're doing the opposite of Gavin Rogers at this moment if you're Zach Hall, and trusting that the field follows you behind. This is the gutsy move. Pit road, will it be calling for these drivers? They show signs that pit road is theirs. Rogers, Hall, they both go up. Brian P. Johnson as well. Everyone else thinking about pit road for themselves. Shane Terry and Nick Crawford, everyone into pit road. Vincent Sora stays out. Ken Campbell stays out. 4 of our championship 6 are going to be in our top 4.
I don't know. I can't give my opinion because I'm not sure what I would have done. I think I would have want tires regardless. In my mind, I was thinking I wanted 4 because
16-lap old tires you're dealing with.
I think at worst I would have wanted to at least go in and get 2. I don't know. We're gonna see.
I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked on the fact that we saw Hall not going to pit road, but I understand it is such a hard decision for Hall because he has watched almost every single move he's made tonight has felt like the wrong move. He didn't get the pole. He didn't win the stage. He missed out on the stage by 3/100ths of a second over Rogers. It just feels like everything that he could have done has been the wrong decision. And right there, a lot of second guessing. Hall almost crossed the line, almost got a black flag penalty with the move that he made there so late. And now he's going to be sitting there with Brian P. Johnson, Vincent Sora. But the big thing for Hall here, he has that 1-point advantage over Gavin Rogers at this point. If you don't count for the win, they were equal in position. So if we find ourselves with Zach Hall, Gavin Rogers tying at some point, and someone that just pitted wins this race, that could change everything here.
And the first car off pit road, I didn't catch it, but who was the first one with 4 tires?
It is going to be 2 tires for Nick Crawford, Aaron Smith second, Douglas Newbig, and Chris Stitz. First driver with 4 tires, 10th place runner of Shane Terry and Brian Noel, who found himself spinning around. He took 2 tires. He's going to be in 11th position. Then Tom Sinchek all the way down to Ryan Kelly. That's going to be 12th to 17th. 18th. Just took 4 tires and fuel.
It will be interesting. This will be a good learning experience to let us know, did tires matter or was 16 laps not enough on them? I mean, I feel like they give up probably right around that lap 15 to 20 is where they start to slowly slow down. But now they cooled them off, but they're warm enough that they have the grip. That first lap or 2, they're going to probably run wide open going through turns 1 and 2 just because of the restart. And then it's going to be 3 and 4 is where the people on 2 and 4 are really going to gain the ground. But by then, it's only going to be about 2.5 laps left, depending on when we get to green. Maybe 3.5.
It's gonna be out.
Or if it's gonna be
3
4
laps. We're waiting for the. If we get the lights to go off this time, it will be 4 laps to go when we go green. I'm looking at the lap times that these drivers were putting down. Gavin Rogers, at the time of yellow, his previous fastest lap while we were running green was about 5/10 off of his fastest time. So he was really putting down the pressure of burning the tires to stay up front. Again, had to make the pass over Zach Hall. Hall now needs to figure out how do you get by this 75. And Gavin Rogers in a tricky spot of where does he want to restart? Does he want the outside, the inside? And here's the call. Inside row for Gavin Rogers. Zach Hall will be on the outside. So that means we're going to be seeing Gavin Rogers, Zach Hall, Brian P. Johnson, Vincent Sora, your top 4. Then in 5th place is Ken Campbell. First driver with 2 tires, Nick Crawford back in 6th place. And as well, a few other drivers taking 2 tires. You're seeing everyone trying to warm up their tires as much as possible because cold tires are not friendly here. Easily can find yourself spinning around if you're not careful. And I mean, Justin, overtime could be calling for these drivers as it's going to be a 4 laps to go for this crew as we'll try to get our laps to go timer back up, but it is currently, when we go green, it's going to be 4 laps to go. And sadly, we just got the reporter graphics decided to break here late. But we were going to do the countdown for you of every lap that goes on by for the end of this race. as we wait for the pace car to pull off. Currently, it is 5 laps to go. When we go green, it will turn into 4. Gavin Rogers has to finish in front of Zach Hall, at least 1 position ahead, and not a win. He would then tie. If we see Gavin Rogers win this race, he will win the championship. Zach Hall just needs to be in front of Gavin Rogers, and he'll win the championship. They both wreck out. It's up in the hands on who will take it. Rogers takes the green, and it is now 4 laps to go.
4 laps to go to 32, not having the restart that he needs for this championship. He has them all bunched up behind Vincent Sora. He's right there already, right on him. This is going to be crazy. How is he going to get a run? We're going to be coming to 3 to go now, but Zach Hall did not get the restart, Sam.
He did not, and now it's going to be Vincent Sora to the outside. Sora knows that he needs to get up front, but Sora, even if he wins this race, he needs to see the 75 and the 32 wreck out. Sora starting to have some issues behind on the outside, but it's going to be now 3 laps to go. Thompson check, Cedric Hunter, they go into the grass. We stay green. 3 laps to go in tonight's race. They're 2-3 wide for third on back, but up front it's single file. Gavin Rogers hoping to get the run to win this race. Nick Crawford teaming to Zach Hall, needs to get up front. Has to get by Gavin Rogers to help Zach Hall at least get into a tiebreaker mode. So Hall stays high. He lets Crawford go. We're going to be now going into 2 laps to go, and Crawford trying to tie this race. Driver spins behind. It's Ken Campbell into the grass. We stay green. 2 laps to go, Justin.
Comes those fresh tires, the right sides. This is what Zach Hall wanted to see. That's why we let it
out. And it's Ken Campbell who brings it out after coming back onto the track.
Oh, now you have to wonder, what will they do? I mean, they can't give up track position, right?
No, but you have to stay out. I mean,
but if the 32 goes in and gets tires, can he get back around the 75? Who's going to be in trouble now? He's not going to be able to restart the race as the leader. He's not going to have the ideal restart, and he's got guys on fresh tires right behind him.
Again, we are so sorry on our graphics. We are not able to get them back up. We are entering into our first of 3 attempts, if needed, of overtime. We are officially here for a championship race. This is coming down to a crucial moment. And I'm looking at this restart here, Justin. If Zach Hall stays out, and so does Gavin Rogers, because this is going to be their time. If they're going to go into pit road, you can do it here. You cannot give up track position. You're staying out. But if you're Hall, you have your teammate leading this race. You could do a little bit of gamemanship. You could do a little bit of a countdown to the green. Give Zach Hall a better launch than Gavin Rogers. Rogers has to stay on top of this. As into pit road, it's Vincent Sora, it's Brian P. Johnson. They were forced to. They had to go into pit road to get service done. They'll fall all the way down. It's now down to these top 2 drivers into this first green-white checkered overtime attempt. But Justin, I want your thoughts on the fact that Nick Crawford could give the control to Zach Hall here on when to go on the inside row.
Well, for sure. It all goes back to when that caution came out before this one. Getting it to 2 tires. We talked about the 2 tires. So it was they heat up. The lefts are fast. The rights, they're cooler. They got the grip, but the lefts were already heated up. So it was like the ideal setup probably for the couple lap shootout, and he just drove to the front, and then, as you said, he could do the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. The 32 hits it at the same time as the 74, and if the 32 could just be alongside Gavin Rogers, that seals the deal for him. And you would imagine that's right now is on the mind of Gavin Rogers, and he's going to be doing everything he can to try and get the best restart possible.
He's going to try his best and do everything that he can. Here is the breakdown so far. Unofficially, there are multiple points that are still out there to be grabbed. If you win this race, you get the 1 point over position over the driver behind you, but you also get a bonus point for winning the race. So technically it could be 2 points for Rogers if he would somehow win this race. But the way Nick Crawford and fresh tires are looking, I don't think that's going to be the case. It's going to come down to position-wise on who's going to win this. Zach Hall has a just 1 point advantage over Gavin Rogers. Now, the 1 point of bonus points that we're not going to know until this race is over is most laps led. Rogers was up front for a long time. Same for Zach Hall. We also saw Brian P. Johnson up there. That 1 bonus point could be critical on either a tiebreaker or setting it to a tie. We will not know until this race is over on that number. Now, again, Zach Hall and Gavin Rogers, this is just based off of the pole bonus point, stage bonus point, just getting 1 lap led. Hall and Rogers, it is a 1-point difference. Zach Hall has that point advantage, but if we're basing off a live positioning, Gavin Rogers in second place would tie. Then it would come down to the tiebreakers of who has the most wins. Then if it's tied there, it would go down to the most second place finishes, and it would continue to go down until we find out who has the advantage on those tiebreaker numbers. It is going to be a lot of math after the fact, unless Zach Hall just gets in front of Gavin Rogers, or Rogers is either wins this race or is 2 positions ahead of Zach Hall. This is going to be a fun one to watch. You don't want to leave just yet, but the lights are still on. We have another way to go around. Justin, any final thoughts before we go into our first overtime attempt of potentially 3 here tonight?
My thoughts are just hold it wide open pretty much through turns 1 and 2 and carry as much momentum as you can down that front straightaway or that back straightaway and go and get the win.
Go for the win, hope for the best. Nick Crawford, teammate of Zach Hall, gets up front. That is a critical position to be in because that is now the control vehicle for this restart. Nick Crawford is going to be the driver when we go into the restart zone. Is going to be the driver who has to take off first. Then Zach Hall behind him. They both are in the same Discord channel. They can talk this out. They can figure out the timing. Gavin Rogers on the outside, though. Will he figure out the timing, guess right, and be able to stay side by side and ahead of Zach Hall? Again, 1 point is the difference between Hall and Rogers. So all that Rogers needs to do is just be a position ahead of Zach Hall, and they could tie. But there is a lingering bonus point of most laps led that we do not know who has at this moment. Gavin Rogers, he got the pole. He got all the bonus points that were needed. Hall has looked like the dominant driver, though, for most of this race. But it is a lot of drivers with fresh rubber to watch out for. Nick Crawford has the lead. He's got 2 tires, freshies to watch out for. Behind Gavin Rogers and Zach Hall, they all have fresh rubber. Gavin Rogers and Zach Hall are the only drivers on 25-lap-old rubber. Everyone else has a lot fresher ones. They're going to be a lot faster than the 75 and the 32. We'll see if they survive as we are into our first overtime attempt of 3. If we stay green and complete this first lap, this race is official when we take the white flag. But if a caution flag comes out on this first lap, we will head into overtime attempt number 2. Here we go into the restart zone. Nick Crawford, Zach Hall, they get the timing. Hall's already ahead of Rogers. Rogers needs to fight back, but it's Douglas Newbig into the inside. Here we go, Justin, in turn number 1.
Oh, wow, that was the restart that the 74 and 32 worked perfect for. I mean, they hit it perfect, Sam, coming out of turns 1 and 2. The 74 is going to have a big lead. The 32 is right there in total. The battle here, Douglas Newbig, Gavin Rogers, side by side, going in the corner. Aaron Smith right there with them. The 7's going to try and get to 3rd position.
And for Zach Hall, the only driver you got to worry about is the 75. Don't let Gavin Rogers by you. You can let the 7 drive on by, but white flag is in the air. This race is official. A champion will be crowned. Will it be the veteran or will it be the rookie? Nick Crawford dashes his way forward. A win looks almost absolute, but for second place, Zach Hall trying his best to win a championship. Gavin Rogers trying to get to the outside lane. He's not there. Douglas Newbig into the inside. Same for Aaron Smith the second. Off of 4, Crawford wins, but Zach Hall finally wins a championship in the WSSR Season 9. Goes to Hall.
Congratulations to Hall, much deserved. Congratulations to the 74, getting the win, not afraid to go in and put tires on and put 2 on only. Get the job done. Can't wait to hear from these guys. And there's Douglas Newbig getting a 2nd place finish. We didn't get a chance to really talk about him all night, and he comes home 2nd.
We've had past champions. We've had historic runs. And for Nick Crawford, he's going to enjoy this one, knowing that this win helped his teammate to get a championship. But for Zach Hall, everyone's going to come by him and give a congratulational bump to that 32. Zach Hall, one of the founders of this series, he found himself trying his best to get a win. So many times he was behind everyone when it looked to win just races, let alone think about championships. But for Zach Hall, the most starts out of anyone in the WSSR, finally can say he is a champion in the series he's been a part of for so long, and probably one of the most competitive seasons. Zach Hall is your Season 9 WSSR Cup Series champion. Enjoy this one, because I know he was stressing all week, but he finally can say he's a champion for the third time in his career in all leagues that he's ran, but a first time WSSR champion. Congratulations to Hall. We will talk to him as well, to our race winner of Nick Crawford, Douglas Newbegin. And we'll talk to one of our other Championship 6 drivers, get their thoughts on this season. What a race. What a run. And Hall is your champion. We'll be back right after this for the post-race show. What a run here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You got to see one of the craziest finishes to a season you could have asked for, and it came down to teammates' help, late cautions that got in the way, but ultimately it was Crawford taking the win. But we first will talk to our brand new champion, because it started off all the way back in season 1 with Brian P. Johnson. Season 2 and 3, Larry England got to hoist the championship. We had a 1.5-year hiatus before we came back to see Vincent Sora the Kid dominate for season 4 and 5. Larry England came back for his 3rd championship, and the last 2 seasons, it has been all Ben Nelson. The driver that's watched all that history happen, he's won regular season championships, but finally, for the first time in his WSSR Cup Series career, Zach Hall is your season 9 champion. Zach, how does it feel to say you are a champion finally in the WSSR?
That's unreal, man. Oh, that right there was a tough race, guys. That was a tough one to get through. I feel like I played it really, really good, man, and I don't even know that last 30, 40 laps of that race, man, it's just a whirlwind, because like I felt like I was in the perfect spot. I was sitting there, I was like, man, we're pulling away from them. We're putting cars in between them. I'm sitting there leading. I'm like, I know I don't even have to win at that point because of what we've already done with the build the gap on Vinny. So I was right there. I felt like it was pretty much done if it stays green. And then we got the yellow, and I tried to hold Vinny off. And when I did, I got to his quarter panel, and man, I got so tight. And then Gavin, just the run he got, I should have blocked all the way to the wall. I didn't think it'd get all the way there. I figured I running a little lower on the straightaway, I would pull ahead of him. But I mean, hell of a move from him. Like, dude, that was literally the championship winning move. Like, I gotta give that dude so much credit because we raced so hard all night. We laid doors on each other. We didn't ever, but nothing was ever dirty. It was all clean. I mean, I blocked every single lane I could when I was in front of him, trying to hold him off throughout the race. I mean, it is literally the most hard fought victory ever. I mean, I'm sure you guys can hear it. It means a lot for sure. It just been, I mean, 9 seasons, and it seems like I'm just getting better and better. So it's really special, really special.
Zach, congratulations. It's such a well-deserved championship for you. Just amazing. And what you just said, better and better. I feel like we've talked about it up here in the past. It just seems like in the last like 6-7 weeks, you've just have escalated to such another level. Like, I mean, I'm sure you're putting in the time in the practice, but like, what have you, like, how you're just so good lately? Like, not that you haven't ever been. Don't take that. It's just you've gone onto this next level. Like, you're like getting into this really, really next category. It's amazing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Justin. You know, coming into the season, I wrote myself off. I literally had no like confidence. It was zero, zilch. You know, we did a bunch of like races during the preseason, and nothing ever just seemed to click with this car. And we started the season, and I slowly just started finding some momentum. I think it was really Texas where we ran really good there. We were in position to win a late race caution. I speed on pit road, but I knew I was there. You know, I knew I was a guy that was competing for the victories. And normally I'm the guy that's out front getting caught, ran down, and passed late in these races. And, you know, I feel like, I don't know, it was just almost a whole over, like, I don't think nothing changes as a driver. I think I've definitely been more consistent as a driver, but I think it's more of a mentality shift of just having confidence. Confidence can cure so many things as a race car driver, especially when you're battling these tier guys. I mean, these guys don't mess up. Like, there's barely any slip ups from us out there. We're just right on the ragged edge, and to be able to be the champion of this league, I'm telling you, this is one of the best moments of my life, actually.
I mean, Zach, I feel like we talk to every competitor and we say, you know, what's the competition level been like this season? And everyone says this might have been the toughest season with the rookies that joined in, such as Gavin Rogers being a rookie that really just elevated everyone, seeing past champions show up the last few seasons. What is it like coming away from this season and finding yourself, you know, getting yourself with all the pressure you'd been feeling all week? And what was it like trying to knock off that pressure, knowing that this race you had that help of a bonus, all of the bonus points to go into this win?
You know, it was tough to knock off the pressure. I mean, today was a long day, guys. I woke up today and didn't have nothing to do all Wednesday. I was free all day, and that was probably the worst thing possible is to be completely like free all day long, because it was just going through my head, you know, scenarios of the race. And I was just ready for the green flag to drop personally. Once the green flag dropped, a lot of those nerves just kind of disappear. Probably they didn't kick back in till about like 120 or 130 there when I was leading in front of Vinny. We're starting to pull away. Like, I know it's starting to look good and favorable for me. And that's when I started to get nervous, because you're like, I'm in the good position now. Don't mess up. So it was a long, long day. The nerves were high, but man, we're a champion. I can't believe it. It is, like you said, probably one of the toughest seasons it's been ever in WSSR when it comes to competition level. So to take this championship home, I'm gonna be so happy to put that trophy together, man. I tell you, I cannot wait for that moment when that thing comes. That thing is gonna be parading around town for sure.
Well, Zach, it has been awesome to call this season and seeing all your success. Congratulations on this win. And before we let you go, like always, the floor is now yours for any more shout outs.
First off, shout out to my teammates at Snowy Desert Racing. I think that makes it 3 in a row for driver championships for Snowy Desert. I had to fill in bench tough shoes for sure, and glad I could get it done. But thank you so much to Nick Crawford, Cedric Hunter, and Christopher Norris. Like, there at the end, before we got that final yell, I was like, man, this is kind of chalk to like, I hope the points play out hopefully good for me. I didn't really know. I knew it was either going to be a tie or a 1-point loss, and I knew if he got the win, it'd be a breaker. So they kept me close and kept me calm. So thank you so much to my teammates because of how close everything was. Thank you to all the work you guys do week in, week out here. I mean, it has been definitely a top tier season for us when it comes to whole production value of you guys, what we're doing on social media. So thank you to you guys. Y'all are a huge part in what we do here at WSSR. Thank you to TrophySmack.com. I cannot wait to go in there and start designing the trophy. So thank you to our sponsor there for providing myself and our league a championship trophy each and every season. So make sure you go check out TrophySmack.com. And then also shout out to all the drivers. Like the drivers this season, they've been amazing. We've had so many of them. Shout out to our race control, Steve Benjamin. That guy is, I mean, does it for nothing, guys. Like everybody give him a round of applause for sure out there and thank our race control because he just does this out of the love of racing. So thank you to Steve. And then last but not least, shout out to Caitlin out there. I hope she enjoyed that finish.
Well, that will be Zach Hall. The 49 drivers attempted this season. 18 races conclude, and your WSSR Season 9 champion is the 32 of Zach Hall. Zach, enjoy this. Have fun building that trophy, and good luck into next season, and hopefully maybe you'll be another driver to join the two-time champ.
Thank you guys so much.
That's Zach Hall. We go to Victory Lane to talk to the driver, his teammate that helped him probably the most to be up front in a position to help his teammate. Nick, it's Sam and Justin up in the booth. Congratulations on this win, being the 9th driver to win this season, and what a race to win it. Last race and your home race. How are you feeling after tonight's run?
I'm feeling pretty good, honestly. Just going into tonight, I wanted to help out the teammates as much as I could, letting them pass, doing whatever I could for strategy. And in the end, definitely helped. Ended up giving him the championship. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Nick, awesome to see you get that win. It looked like 2 tires was the right call at the end. Just to kind of tell us what made that decision. Did you just want to be the first off pit road? Is that why you went with the 2?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to be the one to control the fresh tires. The reason for pitting is Zach needed to. It was very close on points, but with Gavin finishing first, he gets a bonus point. So I think Gavin would have won it that way. So the plan was either to just get past Gavin, take the win so he doesn't get the bonus point, and Zach can still finish behind him. Or when we got that last restart, it helped even more because then we could line up on the inside and control the restart and just get them clear and just solidify it there. So, yeah, just pitting for teammates there.
It was a fantastic strategy call that helped in so many different ways, Nick. I mean, what a run for yourself. I know tonight it was kind of a roller coaster at times. Overall, you could say the season was a roller coaster. Give us your thoughts on this season and just seeing the team's success with having 2 of you guys making the championship 6 and with how well you performed here this evening.
Yeah, the team did really good this season. The only thing we could have done better is won the team championship, but Nightmare, they just had so much consistency compared to us. Me and Norris, we struggled a little bit here just because this kind of league takes a lot of practice, and I didn't have a lot of practice, a lot of time to practice for it. And it's a pretty new car to me still. I don't have a lot of experience in it. So this is definitely great to come away with a win because, you know, we didn't just beat them on tires. We beat the other people on tires too. But definitely feeling a lot better compared to the middle season. I was struggling a lot, really hating this car and this Wednesday nights. Just, you know, I love racing with my teammates, but when this car is like this, but it definitely helps that a win closes it out.
It certainly does. I know you're going to enjoy making this video for the Snowy Desert Racing content. It's been an awesome season, Nick. Congratulations on this win, and now the floor is yours for any more shout outs.
As always, I have to shout out my beautiful wife first. She's amazing, super beautiful, best in the world. Shout out to my teammates. Congrats to Zach on winning the championship. He's probably the one person in this league that wants it the most. This guy stresses so much just to have a race go his way. So I'm glad he got it. Congrats to the other teammates. Cedric did really good in the final round here. And then me and Norris, we're doing all right. Shout out to my friend Bert Irvin Music. Go ahead and check out his song. It's pretty cool. And for the admins who run this league, and shout out to you guys for putting on a good show.
Well, thank you for giving us such a great show to call. That will be your winner here tonight at Las Vegas. His one win of the season. What a time to grab it. Nick Crawford wins here tonight. Enjoy this one, Nick. Enjoy the off season, and good luck into season 10.
Thanks, guys.
As we move down from victory lane, we talked to second place runner, was able to make all the passes and the moves there late with the fresh rubber. We got Douglas Newbiggie with us. Sorry, Douglas, for pulling you away from that conversation, but man, you come away second. You had your ups at times, some major lows, went through the grass, but how are you feeling coming away second there late?
Pretty good, I guess end of season. Why not tie in a nice little bow for all the luck and all the craziness that happened in this whole season. So we'll take it. No drama this race. Felt pretty good. So yeah, I mean that was pretty fun. Hoping I could got to Nick back up there with Nick. We could have raced out a little better, but it happens. Finished second, so I mean we'll take it. That was a fun night driving through everybody. So it was good.
Hey, congratulations, Douglas, on that second place finish. I mean, your season definitely was up and down, and we talked about it. There's so many times we knew you had so much speed, and then it just seemed like something would happen. But tonight, what'd you do there at the end? Did you go 4, or were you on 2 tires?
Yeah, so I was on 2 tires. I mean, I kind of made a plan with everyone on my call. Like, we're doing 2, and it's like, this is what we're doing if there's a caution with like 10 laps. And then sure enough, it's like, there's our caution, we're taking 2. So, I mean, that was already kind of a decision made. Kind of went a little wrong at the fuel adjustment with it. We thought we needed less fuel, and actually we needed more fuel in it to be a little looser, but whatever. That's for next time, I guess, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, that was a plan. 2 tires worked out, got me and Aaron and Brian too. We all got track position, but me and Aaron were able to keep it up there. I think Brian had some issues just kind of figuring it out and getting around some people. I just kind of got screwed there at the end, but whatever, happens. We got two people in the top 5, so we'll take it.
It was a strong run. I know, Douglas, there's a lot of teams and drivers that, after a season, they decide not to come back the next. So what do you know if there's any thoughts on yourself and Lucky Ducks coming back for next season? Because I know there's been rumors that there's a chance you guys may not be coming back.
Yeah, those rumors are definitely true for most. Let's put it that way. I don't know about like if it's done. I can't really. I'm not going to share that information right now, but I mean, I think it's pretty fun. I mean, it's nice when we have races like this. There's no drama, whatnot, no excessive cautions. I feel like this is what, I mean, even back like last season with the Gen 4s, I mean, how many times did we get Wreckfest cautions, like Kern County, right? Horrible race, Wreckfest, and then the next 2 races, we always green a checkered, so, I don't know. Yeah, I know some of us, I mean, there's a chance some of us might be back. I don't know. I really don't know what to say about that. Some of us I know for a fact are definitely not. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind coming back, maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about it. I know my schedule is kind of crazy with college and whatnot, and then just trying to fill in the gaps and everything else. But yeah, we'll see what's going on. We'll not anything official. I know Sean might yell at me, but not anything official yet. But yeah, from my understanding at least. So yeah, maybe.
I know I put you in a tough spot with that question, Douglas, but I know it's been a pleasure to call your races and getting to talk to you after these races with your good runs. And if you do come back, we're excited to see you. And if you don't, it has been a pleasure to watch you out on course and perform well when you're able to and trying to avoid that bad luck. But before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout out.
I mean, to be fair, that bad luck this whole season was just me being an idiot, so whatever. But yeah, shout out to oh my god, dude. So you know how long it's been since I've been in the booth in this league? There we go.
It's been a while.
All right, it's been a while. All right, yeah, Meals on Wheels. Shout out to them. Simrat Market making this beautiful template for the scheme. John for cooking this scheme up, doing the wrap, coloring it, all really fancy. Nexus Esports. Fancy little cute little turtle on the side of my car. TrophySmack.com making the trophies. Larry Productions. Freaky Fast, you guys, awesome broadcasting. I was watching the broadcast a little bit in the race when I was bored during the cautions. You guys are always fantastic, always putting a good show every single week. Hope you guys stay for next season. Hope you guys are, because you guys put, like I said, fantastic show. You guys are awesome. Love being in the booth with you guys every week, or used to be every week, but not so much recently. But yeah, I mean, even if I not back here next season I'll be sure to watch because you guys put on such a fantastic show every week. So okay, thank you to Steve for putting on such a being an admin. You know, he had to put up with some of my stuff. So shout out to him. He's a great guy. And then the whole admin team, Cedric run this thing, everyone else. So fun season, good racing everybody. So yeah.
It certainly has been a fun season. I know for myself, Douglas, we can confirm we will be back for next season.
There you
But it has been a pleasure, Douglas. Congratulations on second place here tonight. Enjoy the off season. If we see you next season, great. If we don't, we hope the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you guys very much. Hopefully I'll see you around, whether it be in this league or another league. I'll be seeing you.
Absolutely. That's going to be your second place finisher of the number 7, Douglas New Big Game from Lucky Ducks. And we go from highs to lows as we bring in the driver that will come away second here tonight in the championship. What a rookie campaign it was. We have the 75 of Gavin Rogers coming away 5th here this evening. Gavin, I mean, what a season for yourself. A total of 8 pulls overall, and the polls were incredible, but you had so many moments here tonight where we thought maybe you were going to hoist the championship. It ultimately did not happen. But man, how are you feeling after this incredible run you had tonight?
You know, Sam, I'm feeling good. I really do. I feel like I did everything I could have. Looking back at North Wilkesboro, staying out, I could say that I made the wrong call, but you never know if they were gonna flip flop the other way around, and if I pit, they would have all stayed out. You can never tell. So I feel like overall I did everything that I could have possibly done to have my best shot at the championship. And yeah, I was proud of the run. Just the luck didn't go my way for sure. It did for a little bit there when I got that lead for one of those whatever run it was there at the end when I got past Zach and Vincent, which that move was. I couldn't believe I could make that 3-wide move up top on the outside. I was kind of shocked as I was doing it when I made it work. But overall, it was just a good race. Want to give props to Zach for the championship. I know he's been working at it for a long time, and he really earned it. He truly earned it, and he's a great driver. Got to give all the credit to really all the drivers: Cedric, Vincent, Zach. Obviously, there's a lot of guys out there that could have totally won the championship. It's just luck went towards other drivers' sides through this last run of the playoffs, and fortunately, I was able to get at least a top 2 run out of it.
Hey, Gavin, congratulations on your whole season. I mean, I know you didn't get the championship, but you have the perfect attitude about it. You're happy right now. You're not upset. You're not letting it ruin your whole entire season because you did so well. I mean, I think you're a driver next year when you're out there. You're going to be someone to even contend with even more because I think, like you just said, you just learned some moves that you pulled off by making that move on the outside, and Zach gave you props on some moves you made to get around him when you in those final 20 laps. I just think you have to be so looking forward to getting back into these cars in a couple weeks again.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure. I'm really excited for next season. I may have some new teammates next season. Don't want to say anything too soon yet, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, for sure looking forward to next season. Got some more secrets in my bag to show out there for everybody, and I'm looking forward to what's to come.
I mean, Gavin, we've watched you win championships in other series and dominate those. I know this season, yeah, probably dealt with some of the most competition you've dealt in any other series. Take us back throughout this season. How has it been trying to get used to these drivers and get to this point to just come away second in your rookie campaign? I know it's hard to get the championships in your rookie and your first time going, but how are you feeling just overall for a season with all the drivers you had to race around?
Yeah, I felt good to start the season off. Not too well. Atlanta was pretty bad race for me, to be honest. I was really slow that one for sure. But I feel like my biggest struggle was just trying to figure out myself around other cars. I just made too many mistakes under high pressure situations. I could name 3 of them right now, 2 of them with Edward and 1 with John Forbes. Still got in my head that I can't really get rid of. I still feel bad about all 3 incidents. But just those things you kind of got to move forward from. And luckily I've been able to do that for the most part on track. Off track, I still think about those things. But yeah, I really did feel like I did the best I could this season. This luck didn't really go my way through a majority of it. I feel like I could have had a lot more wins in my bag if I just didn't get stuck on the wrong side of strategy or the mistakes that I made with Edward. I feel like I could have won the Texas and the Marsville race, but just obviously didn't go my way, and I made mistakes. And but I'll learn from it, and we'll move on to next season. Hopefully, win some more races.
Well, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform, Gavin. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any more shout outs.
Yeah, I really want to give a huge shout out to my buddy Rev, who's our race control in our other league. He's such a great guy. He was helping me out tonight, kind of being my crew chief / spotter. He was really the one that helped me figure out that top line tonight, and I really felt strong up there, just how to get up in front of some guys, and I felt like I could defend pretty well. Unfortunately, Zach got by me, and he was able to defend really well too. So this huge shout out to Rev. He was stellar tonight. He was awesome. I love that guy. Shout out to Nick as well. He was the guy in the ear tonight for most of the spotting part. And also just shout out to all the other buddies in the voice chat, Richard, Carl, and Jared. Sorry. And also want to shout out all my buddies and all my family watching tonight. I know my brother wants a shout out, so I'll shout out to him. Gage, I love you, buddy. And yeah, just shout out to all the admins for letting me in. It's been an honor racing with these guys. And final shout out. Don't want to keep you guys waiting on me too long, but final shout out to you guys as well for doing such a great broadcast.
Thank you for giving us such a great race to call and all the amazing action, Gavin, like you always do. I also want to say that you had probably the biggest fan base cheering you on. I know they're going to be cheering you on into next season. As your second place in points will be Gavin Rogers, comes away 5th here tonight. Congratulations, Gavin, and good luck into next season, and enjoy your off season.
I really appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
You too. Again, that is your second place in championship runner of Gavin Rogers. He will come away 5th here tonight. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues there late, like you might have seen. We lost our lap counter, which then kind of crashed our whole entire system, which lost a lot of our data on the end results. So I'm going to have to do a full rundown. This might take a little bit, but here is going to be your 26 drivers and where they finished at the end of this race. Your winner being Nick Crawford. Second place was Douglas Newbigging. Your third place finisher here tonight and Season 9 champion is going to be Zach Hall in third. Aaron Smith the second comes away 4th. 5th is Gavin Rogers. In 6th, it's Larry Yangling. 7th, Ryan Kelly. Chris Stitz comes away in 8th. 9th is Andrew Medlin with Tom Sinchek in 10th. Joshua Kanata comes away in 11th with GT Rosari in 12th. 13th is where Vincent Sora falls all the way down to with Shane Terrian in 14th. Brian Noel, even with all his struggles there late, comes away in 15th. 16th is Ken Campbell. Cedric Hunter in his championship campaign comes away 17th with Christopher Wade 18th. Brian P. Johnson 19th. 20th is Danny Cochran. Richard Wolfsfer will come away 21st with Ollie Fonseca 22nd. Justin Forbes 23rd. Ben Keeney 24th. Jared Hughes in 25th. And our last driver to finish out here tonight in 26th position is Christopher Norris. But I mean, Justin, overall, that is the last end of our unofficial results for the season. What a season it's been. Season 9 is concluded. What's some of your final thoughts of tonight and the season as a whole?
Las Vegas really put an exclamation point on the whole season. I think this league is so fun to watch, so fun for us to call up here, the action, the drivers. But it's amazing how, and it just seems in the last couple of weeks, I think the most enjoyable part of it was the cream really just came to the top. Like we started talking about in the last couple of races, it's like those final couple drivers just all were, I mean, what the 75 and the 32 did at the end of the season, they just put on such a show. And I mean, I know we had Vincent Sora there also. He was really strong at the end of the season, and so many drivers. Ryan Kelly didn't get to fight for that championship. You hate to start naming drivers because there's just, I mean, we could name 15 of them, but you get what I'm saying. It's just been fun to watch. I can't wait for the next season. I think it's going to be just as good.
I think it's going to be just as great as well, because we are excited to be announced. The drivers and admins weren't told once the race was over, Season 10 schedule will be released. So we've got our future schedule handed out to the drivers. We can't do a full rundown of the schedule, but Justin, we are back in just one mere month. It is going to be November 6th is our returning race. The drivers are testing out the brand new lights at Atlanta Super Speedway configuration. It was the start of season 9. They bring it back. It's going to be the start of season 10 in just a month.
That'll be exciting. I mean, starting at a super speedway just adds excitement because it kind of really just, you don't know what you have until week 2, because week 1 being a super speedway, I think that's a great track to start at, and I think it puts on a fun show for us to watch.
It certainly should give us a fun show. And if you want to see other fun shows throughout the week, now we have tomorrow off, but usually we give you the coverage of the Doghouse Cup Series. They're back next week at New Hampshire. We got plenty of other racing action starting this upcoming Monday. The ISRC Truck Series go back for the second time ever to Canadian Tire Motorsports, but it is a quick, snappy road course. These drivers are going to have a handful on, and it's going to be 50 laps of great road course racing. Then on Tuesday, as Justin Malarkey's in the booth on Wednesday nights, he's on track Tuesday nights for the Challenger Racing League, as the drivers just got finished up at Bristol. An incredible, only one caution was thrown, and it was at the stage at Bristol this past Tuesday. That was your regular season finale. They now get prepared for the playoffs. 12 drivers made it, and you don't want to miss out. Then Wednesday, we're off for this upcoming month of October, but don't worry, we're back. November 6th is when we come back. And I got to say, Justin, the future schedule looks high, but man, I got to say that Tuesdays, the series has been highly underrated.
Well, I like to be out there on the Tuesday, and I think it's been enjoyable for me to race, and I'm sure you guys are starting to enjoy broadcasting it. We're trying to get the car count up a little bit. I think we had 16 drivers last week. Hopefully we get up in that 20-25 range, but I think that could be another show that drivers or viewers will love tuning into, so definitely go check it out. You won't hear me, but you might get to see me out on track, maybe try and get a win.
Yeah, you're going to be hearing me up in the booth on Tuesday nights with Trevor Earhart, and it cannot wait to see how that run's going to go. This season, again, 9 drivers got into victory lane, 49 total hit the track at some point this season, and it's Zach Hall, after 18 races and 2 of them being in the championship round, is finally a champion in the series. It has been incredible to see all the highs and the lows and seeing different champions come around. But Zach Hall, who's had the most starts out of anyone in the WSSR, the major veteran of this series and one of the head admins, finally can say he is a champion. Congratulations to Zach. Congratulations to the rest of our championship 6. Gavin Rogers, Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter, Larry Yingling, Brian P. Johnson. I mean, Zach Hall had to beat 3 of the past 4 champions in the WSSR to hoist this one, and one of the hottest rookies that came into the series, who is expected to be coming back. Cannot wait to see how the future has for us. It has been a pleasure to give you all this racing action. But for tonight, we want to say thank you so much for joining with us on your Wednesday evening, as WSSR again comes for a conclusion. We will be back after this this break, but I'm excited to say that it has been a pleasure to give you this season 9 coverage on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Justin Malarkey, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else that helps out here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you to the viewers for being out there and chatting and rooting on. I know a lot of fans for Gavin Rogers. We had some Zach Hall fans as well. It was awesome to see your interactions back and forth. If you enjoyed just our broadcast in general, hitting that like button, hitting the subscribe button really helps us out and lets us know you're enjoying the show. So please do so, and remember to hit that bell notification button after subscribing to be notified when we are back November 6th for WSSR. But for more future racing action, again, tomorrow night for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series, we are off, but we will be back next Thursday for more racing action. But our next one on the list, we have the weekend off, but we're back Monday as the drivers get to test out their skills in the ISRC Truck Series. They head to Mo Sport for Canadian Tire Road Course Racing. Who's going to get the maple syrup? We'll find out Monday night for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.